I was only 14 when I entered the palace. Father asked what I wanted for my coming of age ceremony. I said I want an imperial chef who can make all kinds of pastries and dishes. So I never got to celebrate my coming of age. An imperial edict made me the crown prince's side consort. Father didn't lie to me. On the wedding day, the crown prince gifted me 2 imperial chefs, one to cook meals, one to make pastries. I treasured them like precious jewels. The crown prince sternly declared to me, "The crown princess and I are deeply in love. Lana Gu, know your place as the side consort and expect no favor." I nodded eagerly. Understood. My mind was busy planning tomorrow's meals and pastries. Who had time to care about his romance with the crown princess? The next day, I finally tasted the lion's head meatballs I dreamed of. In the afternoon, the crown princess visited with a plate of fresh lychees. It was my first time trying lychee. I was utterly moved. "Crown princess, you're so kind to me. You must be my long-lost sister from another life." Truly, I have 4 older brothers and have always wished for an elder sister. The crown princess is exceptionally gentle, speaking in soft tones and smiling like blooming peach blossoms. From now on, let us address each other as sisters. Sister Gu, if there is anything you find unfamiliar in the Eastern Palace, do tell me. I gazed at the crown princess with eager eyes. "May I dine with you, sister? Would the crown prince and crown princess's table have more delicious dishes?" I was quite curious. My guess was correct. Seeing the whitebait and pumpkin soup on the table, I didn't wait for my maid to serve me and helped myself to a small bowl first. The crown prince probably thought I was stealing his food. He wore a cold expression throughout the entire meal. This made me feel I shouldn't eat too little, so I served myself another small bowl. Who knows if the crown prince would allow me to dine with them again next time? It seems I misunderstood the crown prince. After the meal, the crown princess invited me to have some watermelon. The crown prince simply waved his hand and told me to take the whole watermelon away. So the crown prince is actually a good person. Watermelons are such a rare treat. It's not even watermelon season yet. Probably only the imperial palace has them. I carried the watermelon back to my courtyard. A young master dressed in luxurious robes stopped me. "Are you Lana Gu?" He was clearly just a child, yet he tried to act all grown up. I couldn't hold back a laugh and pinched his rosy cheeks. "Little one, do you want some watermelon too? I can share half with you." The young master glared at me angrily, his handsome brows furrowed together. "Who wants your watermelon? I came here to warn you. Don't you dare try to steal my father from my mother." Yet, half an hour later, we sat side by side, both scooping up watermelon with silver spoons, and we just couldn't stop. The young master's name was Ethan Shao, the son of the crown princess. He became my regular dining companion. The crown prince, for his part, was quite pleased with this. Whenever something delicious came up, the crown princess would send for me to join them. The crown prince preferred sending meals to the courtyard for me to share with Ethan Shao. Indeed, all 3 members of the crown prince's family were kind souls. As the weather grew warmer, I began feeling homesick. I missed Mother's lotus flower crisps. Ethan Shao noticed my melancholy. "Lana Gu, would you like to go pick lotus seed pods? There'll be lotus seeds to eat." For a moment, I forgot my homesickness. The Eastern Palace had a large pond. The crown princess had ordered it fully planted with lotuses, but there were no boatmen in the Eastern Palace. I suggested calling the guards, yet Ethan Shao didn't want the guards seeing his playful side. He insisted on rowing the boat himself. We were truly joyful while gathering lotus seed pods. The fresh lotus seeds were delightfully sweet. When it was time to return, we were stumped. The oar seemed to have a mind of its own. The more we rowed, the farther we drifted from shore. Finally, a woman passed by. I quickly called for help, but Ethan Shao looked displeased. "Don't call her. She's a wicked woman." I immediately scowled with anger. "It's getting dark. If we don't call her and she falls into the lotus pond, it's no joking matter." Finally, we made it ashore. Before I could even thank her, the woman covered her face and hurried away. Clearly, she was afraid of Ethan Shao. I secretly went to see the woman who helped us. Her name was Elise Luo. Elise Luo lived in a rather remote area. Surprised and honored by my visit, She brought out a plate of pastries to treat me. Sigh consort Gu. I made these in my spare time. Please have a taste. I recognized the pastries at once as lotus flower crisps. I eagerly tried one. It was absolutely delicious, even better than the ones Mother used to make. When I left, I packed up the entire plate of lotus flower crisps. I brought them to share with Ethan Shao. Halfway through eating, I asked him, "Is it good?" Ethan Shao nodded vigorously. I smiled with pursed lips, waiting until after finishing before telling him the lotus flower crisp was made by Elise Luo. His face stiffened. He pointed at me, looking both furious and helpless. It was utterly amusing. I asked around about Elise Luo. Rumors in the Eastern Palace said Elise Luo was originally a palace maid. The crown prince got drunk after arguing with the crown princess, and Elise Luo seized the opportunity to sneak into his bed. It left the crown princess heartbroken for a long time. The crown prince initially wanted to have her executed. It was the crown princess who showed mercy, making her a bed, chamber servant, and sparing her life. After that, I secretly visited a few times. Elise Luo told me to come less often. She said she was afraid I might anger the crown prince. Sure enough, the crown prince found out about my secret visits. He was very displeased. Lana Gu, I heard you've been getting close to Elise Luo. Don't let her lead you astray. I was initially defiant. Miss Luo is quite nice. She always makes lotus flower crisp for me. The crown prince glared at me with fury. If you go again, I'll take back both imperial chefs. Would you rather only eat lotus flower crisps, or have the freedom to choose any dish or pastry you crave every day? Even a fool knows how to do the math. I immediately turned sycophantic. I won't go. Never again. Your Highness, please don't take the imperial chefs away. The crown prince was amused by me. As we were about to leave, a servant rushed in with news. It's terrible. The crown princess has fainted. The crown prince strode out quickly. Has the imperial physician been summoned? Hurry, call for one. I hurriedly followed along. The crown princess is a kind person. Just yesterday, she sent someone to deliver muskmelons to me. I was very worried about her. Arriving at the crown princess's courtyard, the crown prince held her hand and called softly, my dear, wake up." The crown princess lay there pale and unconscious. The crown prince demanded sharply, "How did the crown princess come to faint?" Kai, the crown princess's personal maid, knelt and kowtowed. This servant truly doesn't know what happened. The crown princess wanted fish soup, so the small kitchen prepared it. She only took one small sip before starting to vomit and fall unconscious. The crown prince's eyebrows shot up in fury. Guards, the small kitchen staff has failed in their care for the crown princess. Detain them all under my order and await punishment. The crown prince then summoned the small kitchen supervisor, Aunt Lu, to carefully inquire about what the crown princess had eaten throughout the day. Yet no clues emerged. Impatient with the imperial physician's delay, the crown prince sent someone to hurry them along. The imperial physician diagnosed that the crown princess was 3 months pregnant. The crown prince was overjoyed. All the maids and eunuchs of the Eastern Palace were rewarded with an extra month's wages. As for the small kitchen staff, for their role in discovering the crown princess's pregnancy, each was rewarded with 3 months' wages. Those who had been anxiously awaiting punishment now kowtowed gratefully to the crown prince, their faces filled with appreciation. When the crown princess awoke, the crown prince held her hand, speaking softly, "My dear, are you feeling any better? Shall I send someone galloping to the estate to fetch some river shrimp? Is there anything else you'd like to eat? My dear, I'll have them bring it all back." The crown princess merely shook her head. "I have no appetite." Seeing the crown princess shake her head, I grew anxious. "I want it. I want river shrimp." The crown prince clearly didn't wish to bother. "Consort Gu, haven't you always wanted an ice chest? Attendant, fetch one from the treasury for Consort Gu." An ice chest. I instantly forgot about the river shrimp. Now, I can chill all sorts of fruits. Seeing my delight, the crown prince sighed. He admonished me, "Consort Gu, from now on, you are forbidden from bringing anything related to Elise Luo before the crown princess." At this moment, the crown prince seemed to me like a temple bodhisattva who grants every wish. I understand. The crown prince seemed to have mastered the art of changing faces. He never cracked a smile for me, but the moment he turned to the crown princess, his face lit up with joy. Darling, if you're feeling bored, why not invite your mother to stay in the palace with you for a while? The crown princess's face brightened with a smile. Good, I've been missing home lately. The crown prince immediately sent someone to arrange it. Ethan Xiao returned from the study and learned about the crown princess's pregnancy. He was overjoyed as well. He chattered endlessly. I hope mother gives me a little sister. A tiny, soft little sister. I'll definitely cherish and spoil her. But father and mother probably want a brother more. Only if it's a brother will the emperor be satisfied. I can wait a bit longer and ask for a sister next time. I was quite puzzled. Why do the crown prince and the crown princess want a son? Ethan Xiao told me, because the third imperial uncle already has 2 legitimate sons and 2 illegitimate ones. Father only has me. Ethan Xiao furrowed his brows, looking once again like the little adult I first met. Ethan Xiao's maternal grandmother was a kind-faced elderly woman. She tried every day to find ways to nourish the crown princess. I stayed daily in the crown princess's courtyard. This time, it wasn't for the food. I just wanted to keep the crown princess company more often. I racked my brains, telling all sorts of amusing stories, and finally managed to cheer up the crown princess. Seeing that I was useful, the crown prince, for once, didn't chase me away during meals. But the crown princess's mother only stayed for 3 days. Then the Rong family ran into trouble. The crown princess's younger brother had gambled, borrowed money outside, couldn't repay it, and was taken captive. How could the old lady have the heart to stay in the palace any longer? The crown princess had her escorted home properly. Before leaving, the old lady gave me an extremely rare piece of cold jade, asking me to help look after the crown princess. With this piece of cold jade, I no longer fear the summer's oppressive heat. I became even more attentive to the crown princess. Yet the crown princess remained unhappy. Troubles from her maternal family kept trickling into the palace. The empress repeatedly summoned the crown princess to admonish her, urging her to better manage her family. I brought my favorite pastries to offer the crown princess, but her personal maid refused to accept them. Consort, the crown prince has ordered that her highness must not consume anything you bring. Furious, I lifted the pastries and ate them heartily in front of her. See? No poison. The crown princess was amused by my antics. Lunchy. Sometimes I truly envy you. I didn't understand. What could you possibly envy about me? Crown princess? The crown princess took my hand. I envy your noble family background, and I envy your carefree nature. Not 2 months passed after those words. The crown princess collapsed once again. It said she received news from her maternal family and was furious. Not only that, the crown princess also showed signs of bleeding. The imperial physician warned that she must not be agitated again, or she might miscarry. The atmosphere in the Eastern Palace instantly grew heavy. The palace maids walked on tiptoe. I was very worried about the crown princess. Ethan Xiao was also worried about his mother, but he still had to attend the study hall. I assured Ethan Xiao that I would help look after the crown princess. However, I was blocked by Kaiping outside the crown princess's courtyard gate. Please stay your steps. Consort, the crown prince has ordered that, given your young age and inexperience, you might unintentionally bring something unclean into the crown princess's courtyard. You may only visit the crown princess when he is present. Forcing my way in was not an option. Kaiping stood guard at the entrance like a door god, poised and alert. I had no choice but to wait for the crown prince to return. I waited at the crown princess's door until I turned into a stone statue of a longing wife. The crown prince finally returned. I thought I could finally see the crown princess. But the crown prince shot me a sidelong glance and said, I have matters to discuss with the crown princess. Consort Gu, come back tomorrow. At that moment, I had the urge to curse his father, but one must bow under the eaves. I still bore the responsibility of helping Ethan Xiao look after his mother. Crown Prince, my husband, please let me see Sister Qing. I'll only stay for a quarter of an hour. No, even half that would do. The crown prince pressed his lips together and remained silent. He shot a meaningful glance at his personal eunuch. I was immediately seized by the shoulders and escorted back to my own courtyard. That damned crown prince, trying to monopolize the crown princess. Luckily, I'm clever. The next day, I entered the crown princess's courtyard through the door reserved for Ah Huang. Ah Huang was the crown princess's dog. Upon seeing a human suddenly appear, Ah Huang barked and chased after me. I jumped in fright, instantly drawing everyone from the crown princess's courtyard. Kai glared at me. Sai consort Gu, where did you come from? Please leave. If the crown prince blames us, this servant won't be able to bear the consequences. Someone came to pull me away. I clung to the corridor pillar. No, I won't leave. I must see the crown princess today. The crown princess appeared just in time, amused as she plucked weeds from my hair. Lanchi, perfect timing. The pleated skirt I made for you is finished. Try it on to see if it fits. Kai still wanted to say something, but the crown princess waved her away. I took the pleated skirt. Along its hem, the crown princess had embroidered many adorable little pastries for me. I adored it immensely. Sister Qing, the skirt you embroidered for me is too cute. But aren't you unwell, making you labor over embroidery? If the crown prince finds out, he'll forbid me from visiting you even more. The crown princess smiled very tenderly. The crown prince won't let me go out, so since I'm free anyway, after finishing your dress, I'll start making little clothes for the baby. Lanchi, would you like to help me? I felt uneasy and withdrew my hands behind my back. But even my father scoffs at my needlework. The crown princess couldn't help but laugh heartily. Lanchi, you don't need to handle the needlework. Just assist me as my helper. I was more than happy to oblige. The crown princess was clearly still in low spirits. I asked her what was wrong. The crown princess was silent for a moment before telling me. My younger brother was led astray, stole money from home, ran away, and still hasn't been found. Mother cries every day. No wonder the crown princess was upset. I wanted to share her burden. Sister Qing, shall I write home and ask my father and brothers to help search? The crown princess shook her head slowly. Thank you, Lanchi, but there's no need for the marquis household to assist for now. The crown prince has already sent people to look for him. I comforted her. Sister Qing, you must trust the crown prince. With his involvement, he will surely be found soon. Sister Qing, cheer up. If you stay gloomy every day, the baby might end up with a stern face like Ethan Shao, and that wouldn't be good. The crown princess was amused by me and finally stopped looking so worried. What made me even happier was that when the crown prince came and tried to send me away, he silently allowed me to stay as soon as the crown princess spoke up. But there was still no news of the crown princess's brother, even though the crown prince sent all available men to search for him. I also wrote letters asking father and my brothers for help, but a living person had just vanished into thin air. The crown princess's parents wrote to her, pleading for her to find a way. 2 months later, the crown princess's brother was finally found. He had lost an arm and remained unconscious. The crown princess was so frightened that she went into labor prematurely. To make matters worse, the baby was in a breech position, and the midwife said it might be a difficult labor. The crown prince, who never believed in Buddhism, knelt before the Buddha and refused to rise, praying for the crown princess's safety and vowing to be vegetarian for 3 years. Ethan Shao and I waited anxiously outside the crown princess's door. We could only hear the midwife's voice. Mother, push harder. Occasionally, we heard the crown princess's muffled cries of pain. Time had never felt so slow. We kept our eyes fixed on the door, waiting from the rooster's crow until the 3rd watch of the night. Finally, we heard a faint cry, like that of a kitten. The crown princess had finally given birth to a daughter. Upon hearing that both mother and child were safe, the crown prince, who hadn't eaten a grain all day, finally collapsed from exhaustion. Before we could even rejoice, we heard the midwife's voice again. It's bad. The crown princess is hemorrhaging. Fortunately, the head imperial physician was present to oversee the situation. The crown princess was pulled back from the brink of death. True to his word, from the moment the crown princess gave birth, the crown prince abstained from all meat, As the crown princess lay bedridden, he spent every day by her side, leaving only to attend court. He gently coaxed her to take medicine, tied her hair, and helped her change clothes. He even personally traveled to the Buddhist temple in the outskirts of the capital, climbing 999 steps to pray for the crown princess's safety. He also spread the word, offering hefty rewards for renowned physicians. Yet, the crown princess grew weaker day by day. In the end, she did not survive the spring. Before her passing, the crown princess told me, "Hearts are fickle, Sister Gu. It's best to keep some guard up against others." I didn't understand what she meant, but I never got the chance to ask again. The crown princess closed her eyes forever. The sun was blazing that day, yet I felt a chill. The crown prince insisted on overseeing her funeral, then fell gravely ill, refusing to summon an imperial physician, as if determined to follow her in death. It wasn't until the Eastern Palace officials knelt together outside, pleading for him to regain his strength, that he relented. Only then did I learn that the crown prince's insistence on seeking a princess title for their daughter had displeased the emperor. Originally, the crown prince had been personally caring for the ailing crown princess, neglecting state affairs, which had already drawn the emperor's disapproval. This recent behavior further convinced the monarch that he was too sentimental and unfit for great responsibility. My father wrote to me that the emperor even told his ministers, "The crown prince is devoted and righteous, but falls short as a successor." The emperor had begun considering deposing the crown prince. He asked me to advise the crown prince to be more cautious. I carried the little princess to find the crown prince. "Your Highness, the departed are gone. Sister Qing would never wish to see you torment yourself like this. Even for the sake of the daughter she risked her life to bear, you must pull yourself together." The crown prince's face was pale. "Lanqi, your sister Qing feared loneliness most. I might as well go keep her company." Seeing his words grow increasingly ominous, I quickly handed the little princess to him. "Your Highness, hold Xiao Xiao. She's so young, already without her mother, and her father won't even hold her." I moved myself to tears with my own words. Xiao Xiao, in unfamiliar arms, began to wail loudly, perhaps awakened by Xiao Xiao's cries. The crown prince turned his gaze to his daughter, taking her into his arms and pressing his cheek against hers. "Xiao Xiao, your mother has left, but your father will protect you." The crown prince finally consented to summon the imperial physician. After recovering from his illness, he carried Xiao Xiao to the crown princess's grave. I thought I could make her happy, that I could stay with her until our hair turned white with age. But I never expected. It was all my fault. I should have forbidden her family from troubling her, even if it meant bearing the blame. It rained that day, and I held an umbrella for the crown prince. Ethan Xiao saw this and accused me with reddened eyes, saying I had caused his mother's death. He even claimed I had long coveted the position of crown princess and that my closeness to her and him was calculated. Originally, on her deathbed, the crown princess had begged the crown prince to let me take her place and raise the little princess. But Ethan Xiao refused outright, saying I would harm his sister. He even carried his sister to the crown prince. Weeping, the crown prince had no choice but to let Elise Luo raise Xiao Xiao. Elise Luo originally had no status or title. The crown prince specifically elevated her to Lady of Worthy Service. Only with her status elevated did she gain the qualification to raise the princess. I had always considered Ethan Xiao a close friend, yet he was so guarded and misunderstood me. Could it truly be, as the crown princess said, that people's hearts are fickle? The spring of the 19th year of Taigong was exceptionally cold. So cold that I lost my appetite even for my favorite lions, had meatballs and lotus flower crisps. I quickly grew thin, shedding my baby fat, and blossomed into a bright-eyed, radiant beauty. With my 16th birthday approaching, I seemed to mature overnight. The crown prince refused to appoint another principal wife. He said this position was reserved for Qing Li. I was deeply moved by the crown prince's devotion. Yet one day, he suddenly began to show concern for me. All the fresh fruits bestowed by the emperor were sent to my courtyard. The crown prince even asked me if I would like to raise the little princess. The little princess is very obedient and has the crown prince's favor, which tempted me. but thinking of Ethan Zhao's reddened eyes, I still refused. Yet the crown prince did not give up. He would often come to sit in my courtyard. One day, after sharing dinner with me, the crown prince refused to leave. I was terrified. Fortunately, he did not force me, saying he would give me time to accept him. That night, the crown prince slept resentfully on the couch by the window. The couch was small, and he, being tall, slept restlessly, with a grown man in the room. I dared not sleep deeply either, hearing him toss and turn all night. The next day, the crown prince stayed again. I volunteered to sleep on the couch. Being petite, I wouldn't be cramped on it, but he said he couldn't bear to see me suffer. I felt bewildered. On one hand, I had seen how devoted he was to the crown princess. He was so heartbroken when she passed away. Can a person's heart change so quickly? Could it truly be, as the crown princess said, that human hearts are fickle? On the other hand, I felt a certain longing. I was gradually maturing, no longer the young girl who had just entered the palace 2 years ago. Back then, I saw the crown princess as an elder sister and the crown prince as an elder brother. Now, I genuinely felt that the crown prince was my husband. If I could share a harmonious life with my husband, what woman would choose to live alone in the depths of the palace forever? I made up my mind. When the crown prince stayed overnight again, I did not refuse. That night, we became a pair beneath the mandarin duck curtains. The mandarin ducks, unwittingly, tore the hibiscus patterned bed curtains. The well-satisfied crown prince said, "Whatever bed curtains you like, go pick from my treasury. Take a couple extra, just in case." Not long after, the crown prince ascended the throne and made me his empress. The emperor, ever considerate, specially summoned my father, mother, and 4 brothers back to the capital to attend my coronation ceremony. After more than 2 years apart, frost had touched my parents' temples. My first brother already had an adorable daughter. Second brother, who has always doted on me the most, brought back 2 entire carriages of gifts for me. Most of them were my favorite foods. Fourth brother gifted me a young mare. Little sister, since you won't have the chance to return to the Great Plains, ride this pony for fun. The emperor granted me a magnificent coronation ceremony as empress. Congratulations, Your Majesty the Empress. It is a pregnancy pulse. Elise Luo was promoted to Consort Luo for her merit in raising the little princess. She lived her days caring for the little princess. Whenever the emperor entered the rear palace, he would come to my empress's chambers. Such immense imperial favor gradually stirred unusual murmurs within the court. Court officials clamored for the emperor to hold a selection of consorts to continue the royal lineage. The emperor refused without a second thought. "I desire an heir from the empress. We shall discuss it after the empress conceives." After half a year of the emperor's exclusive favor, joyous news emerged from the empress's chambers. The wrinkled face of imperial physician Lu broke into a beaming smile. "Congratulations, Empress Mother. It's a smooth pulse. I am with child." I eagerly sent someone to inform the emperor of the good news. I thought the emperor would come to see me soon, but he only dispatched the eunuch secretary, Zhao, to deliver an edict, saying I had worked hard and bestowing upon me a set of head ornaments. The ornaments were made of extremely rare Eastern pearls. The craftsmanship of the hairpin, in particular, was unparalleled in this world. Yet I could not feel happy. I asked Zhao Si where the emperor was. He hemmed and hawed. After repeated questioning, Zhao Si finally said the emperor was preparing to leave the palace. In 3 days, it would be the anniversary of Empress Rinjin's passing. The emperor intended to depart early to spend a few days there with her. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed since Sister Qing's death. Xiao Xiao had already learned to call him father and me mother. Ethan Xiao had also ignored me for a year. I could only smile bitterly. How can the living ever compare to the dead? Even though the emperor did not show much enthusiasm, I was still in quite good spirits. I have my own child now. Back when Sister Qing prepared many little clothes and shoes for Xiao Xiao. Though she is no longer here, the clothes she left are enough for Xiao Xiao to wear until she grows up. I also want to prepare some things for my own little one, but my hands are clumsy. Most of the baby clothes had to be entrusted to the palace embroiderers. Only the child's red belly band. I want to embroider myself. When mother entered the palace to bid me farewell, I was struggling with the 5-poison embroidery pattern. Father had long since taken my 4 older brothers to pursue the remnants of the rebel king's faction. Mother couldn't bear to part with me, which is why she stayed a few months longer. Yet, even with mother remaining in the capital, separated by palace walls, the short distance between us meant we couldn't meet often. I showed mother the little clothes, tiny shoes, and tiger hat I had prepared for the baby. Mother's eyes were red. Mother still remembers 17 or 18 years ago, giving birth to you. And in the blink of an eye, my little Lancy is about to become a mother herself. I wept on mother's shoulder. Only when raising a child does one understand a parent's love. I truly couldn't bear to part with mother. Mother asked how the emperor treated me. I blinked my eyes. The emperor treats me wonderfully, seeing how well he treated Sister Qing before. I never imagined such happiness would come to me. Mother hesitated to speak, but in the end, she said nothing, only patiently taught me how to make a belly band. Before mother left, she gave me a letter. She urged me that no matter what happened, I could always write to father and mother, for they would forever be my support. With reluctance, I escorted mother to the entrance of the Empress's chambers. After seeing mother off, I opened the letter. My smile froze on my face. The letter was written by father. It said that entering the palace was the crown prince's idea, not truly because I wanted an imperial chef, but because the crown prince distrusted the military power in father's hands. He feared father might assist the third prince. The letter also stated that making me empress and having a child were also my father's wishes. This was his arrangement with the crown prince. My father would help the crown prince eliminate the remnants of the third prince's faction. In return, the crown prince would grant me the title of empress and a child. The emperor summoned them back to the capital not for the coronation ceremony, but to have my father deal with the remaining rebels. At the end of the letter, my father warned me to be cautious of the emperor. I felt as if I had fallen into an icy abyss. It suddenly dawned on me that the emperor had been back in the palace for 2 days after paying respects to Sister Qing. Yet he had not once visited the empress's chambers. Could it be that now that the deal with my father was done, he no longer wished to pretend with me? How laughable that I had thought it was my growing beauty that had captured the emperor's attention. I recalled those happy times, the days when he would inquire after my well-being with such care, the grand coronation ceremony he bestowed upon me. It was all an act. All of it was false. How difficult it must have been for the emperor, as ruler of the nation, to play along with this farce for a mere consort like me. I had the urge to rush to the hall of diligent governance and confront him openly, to demand a clear explanation from him. But in the end, I did nothing. The stewardess, Jing, hurried in. "Your Majesty, there are rumors spreading in the palace that you were responsible for Empress Rinjin's death." I sat up abruptly. Empress Rinjin was none other than Sister Qing. After the emperor ascended the throne, he posthumously honored her as Empress Rinjin, even though I became empress. Everyone in the palace knows that the emperor's true love will always be Empress Rinjin. Whoever spreads such rumors has malicious intentions, deserving punishment. I no longer had time to wallow in self-pity. Jing, send someone to investigate where these rumors originated. Jing accepted the order and left. Yet, I couldn't help but wonder, who is behind this? Is it Ethan Zhao? I recalled Ethan Zhao's bloodshot eyes a year ago, and what he said. "Lana Gu, you've long coveted the position of crown princess. Getting close to me and mother was all part of your scheme." I called out the door. "Where is Zhu Fun?" My palace maid Zhu Fun, who came as part of my dowry, bounced in. "Mother, you were looking for me?" I asked her. "I told you to keep an eye on Ethan Zhao. What has he been doing lately?" Zhu Fun, reporting to you. "Mother, the crown prince goes daily between the study and his own palace, and has not been anywhere else." I asked again, "Has he gone to see Xiao Xiao?" Zhu Fun, "He has not." After a moment's thought, she added, "Twice. The crown prince reached the outside of Consort Lua's palace, but turned back. If not Ethan Zhao, then who could it be?" 3 days later, Jing returned to report to me, "Mother, the palace maid who spread the rumor has been found. She is from the Palace of Earthly Tranquility. The Palace of Earthly Tranquility was specially reserved by the Emperor for Empress Rinjin, saying she must not be without a home. It houses her remaining belongings. The palace maids there are all longtime servants from the Eastern Palace courtyard of the Crown Princess. Bring the palace maid forward. It was actually someone familiar, Kai Ping, who once attended closely to the Crown Princess when her father fell ill. Coinciding with the Crown Princess's critical condition, she couldn't arrange care for him and wept desperately by the Lotus Pond. I happened upon her and sought medical help through my family connections, saving his life. Back then, she thanked me profusely, vowing to repay the favor someday. Little did I expect it would be repaid in this manner. I sneered coldly. Kai, who put you up to this? Kai remained stubbornly tight-lipped. No one instructed this servant. I blew lightly on my freshly polished nail guards. Kai, I advise you to speak the truth while you still have the chance. Kai snorted softly. I simply dislike you. Our mistress treated you like a sister, yet you stole her position as empress. You're always buying loyalty with petty favors, thinking you can win me over with trivial kindness. TSK. And here I thought I was helping her out of goodwill. Instead, it's seen as manipulation. Clearly, no good deed goes unpunished. I might as well have spent that silver on a new set of nail guards. My expression darkened with displeasure. Since you refuse to talk, guards, drag her out, give her 20 strokes, and send her to the service wing. Jing, yes. The next moment, the long, unseen emperor arrived. I nearly snapped my own nail guard. The emperor is truly a rare guest. Delight flashed in Kai's eyes. She threw herself before the emperor, kowtowing forcefully. Your Majesty, save the servant. The empress killed Our Lady. Please uphold justice for her. I wasn't anxious, watching the emperor to see what he would say. The emperor directly kicked her. You insolent wretch. The empress is pregnant. If she's distressed and something happens, can you bear the responsibility? Zhao Si, gag her and drag her out for execution by beating. Do not startle the empress. Kai looked terrified. Spare me, Your Majesty. Spare me, Empress. I beg you. Soon she was dragged away. Hearing execution by beating, Zhu turned pale with fright and cast a pleading glance my way. She wanted me to save Kai, but I gave Kai a chance. She simply didn't treasure it. Zhu is still too soft-hearted, just like I used to be. In this harem, compassion is the most unnecessary thing to possess. After Kai was taken away, I cover my face with a handkerchief, feigning sorrow, my voice trembling slightly. Your Majesty, today you were so ruthless. Kai merely spread a few rumors, yet you had her beaten to death. Could it be that in your heart, you truly believe those absurd words and think Empress Rinjin's death is related to me? A flicker of complex emotion passed through the Emperor's eyes. In this world, karma finds its way, even if not by your own hand. You are not innocent in today's events. I stared in disbelief, my eyes wide, though I had been pretending to be wronged. Now tears spilled uncontrollably. Your Majesty, how could you judge me so? I regarded the Crown Princess as my own sister. How could I possibly harm her? Seeing the tension rise, Jing wisely stepped in to pour tea for the Emperor. The Emperor accepted the tea, his demeanor finally thawing from its earlier coldness. Lanchi, I do not wish to quarrel with you. I came today to bring you good news. Your father and 4 brothers have eradicated the remnants of the rebel king's forces. Hearing the Emperor's words, my heart first leapt with joy, but then a surge of complex emotions followed. After all, the palace is a place of constant turmoil. Great achievements are not always a blessing. It seems the Emperor suddenly came to the Empress's chambers to support me, precisely because of my father and brother's merits. My heart was a whirlwind of feelings, yet I showed none on my face. Instead, I bowed slightly and said, This concubine congratulates Your Majesty. With the rebel remnants eliminated, the realm will be more stable and peaceful. My father and brothers succeeded in wiping them out entirely thanks to Your Majesty's divine fortune. The Emperor nodded slightly, seemingly satisfied with my response. He patted my hand and said, I always knew Lancey's father and brothers were loyal and righteous. Tell me, what reward should I bestow upon them? I replied cautiously. They serve the state wholeheartedly and seek no rewards. It is entirely for your majesty to decide. The emperor's gaze held a trace of relief. My father-in-law and brothers-in-law are all loyal and righteous men. They deserve their rewards. I intend to elevate my father-in-law's title to Duke of the State. My third brother-in-law has contributed the most. He shall receive a secondary title of Count. The other 3 brothers will be granted estates, fertile lands, gold, silver, and jewels. Let the world know I do not mistreat those who serve me well. I quickly rose and bowed gracefully. This humble concubine thanks your majesty for your generous rewards on behalf of my father and brothers. After the emperor left, I touched my belly and smiled mockingly. He never once mentioned the child. Neither did I. If he does not anticipate this child, I will protect it myself. Jing looked at me with concern, hesitating to speak. I asked her what was the matter. Jing, your highness, the Empress Dowager summons you to the Palace of Benevolence. I forced a smile. Let's go. Let us see what Her Majesty requires. Upon arriving at the Palace of Benevolence, the Empress Dowager was unusually affectionate. The Empress is truly blessed, having borne fruit for the royal family within just half a year of receiving the Emperor's favor. Had she been favored earlier, her child might already be walking by now. I grew wary. The Empress Dowager is not the Emperor's birth mother, but the mother of the rebel prince, the third son of the late Emperor. The Emperor and the rebel prince fought to the death. After ascending the throne, to demonstrate magnanimity, the Emperor demoted the rebel prince to a commoner. The Empress Dowager loathes the Emperor to the core, yet she must feign courtesy and compliance. Clearly, she intends to drive a wedge between the Emperor and me, making me resent him for not favoring me sooner. I smiled brightly, as though oblivious to her insinuations. Empress Dowager, both thunder and rain are manifestations of the sovereign's grace. It is best to accept one's fate. My words carried a double meaning, not only accepting my own fate, but also advising her to accept hers. Her son has already lost. Forever severed from the imperial throne, the Emperor, newly enthroned, still needs to uphold the reputation of filial piety and fraternal duty. If she continues opposing him, the day the Emperor solidifies his power, he will turn against her. The Empress Dowager met with a soft rejection, her smile growing strained. I heard there were rumors spread by palace maids. And the Emperor handled it for you? The Empress is pregnant. How can she manage the harem's affairs? I lowered my gaze submissively. The Emperor pities me, and with few high-ranking consorts in the harem, there isn't much to handle. After being rebuffed once or twice, the Empress Dowager's expression gradually cooled. I won't beat around the bush with you, Empress. My family has a niece named Chuanxiang. During the late Emperor's reign, it was proposed that she be given to the Emperor in marriage. Due to Empress Rinjin monopolizing the Emperor, it was delayed. Now she's 16, perfect for entering the palace to share your burdens. I smiled bitterly. Your Majesty, the Emperor has declared he won't take new consorts for now. There's nothing I can do. I have no desire to help the Emperor take a consort only to face his displeasure later. The Empress Dowager snorted coldly. I knew it. You, Empress, are as slippery as an eel in mud. I've already sent word to the Emperor. As the Empress, you should set an example for the realm. Jealousy is no virtue. It was at this moment that Zhao Si from the Emperor's side came to deliver the decree, ordering the Empress Dowager's niece to enter the palace. Not only that, but her rank was already decided. A third, grade Shui, one rank higher than Consort Luo. It seems the Emperor and the Empress Dowager must have reached some kind of agreement. Hearing the Emperor's decree, why would I play the villain? In that case, this concubine will immediately order the Palace of Eternal Fidelity to be prepared, awaiting Miss Chao's entry into the palace. The Palace of Eternal Fidelity is very close to the Empress Dowager's Palace of Benevolence and convenient for reaching the Emperor's Hall of Diligent Governance. The Empress Dowager was very satisfied. You've worked hard. Keep this warm jade for the child. Empress, a strike with the stick, then a sweet date, truly befitting the Empress Dowager, who has been immersed in the harem for over 30 years. Returned to the Empress's chambers, Jing asked me, Your Majesty, regarding the Palace of Eternal Fidelity, should we prepare it meticulously? ensuring every plant and object satisfies the new lady entering the palace. Or should we finish it quickly? Preparing a palace is also an art. Preparing meticulously means dragging it out slowly, from the first ripening of summer peaches to the blooming of winter plums. By then, we can claim the weather is too cold for construction, smoothly delaying it until next year. By then, my child will have been born. I'll have free hands to deal with the new ladies entering the palace. If preparations are hurried, we'll soon see this Lady Chow. I wearily press my fingers to my brow. As soon as possible. The Empress Dowager is impatient, and even the Emperor has agreed. We'll just set the stage and watch the show unfold. From now on, Jing, pay closer attention to the meals in my chambers. Jing bowed slightly. Yes, Jing is very reliable in handling matters. In less than half a month, the Palace of Eternal Fidelity was prepared, awaiting Jasmine Chow's arrival. But then word came from the Chow family that Jasmine had caught a chill. I sent Zhu to investigate. Zhu is lively, sociable, and excels at gathering information. A few days later, Zhu returned, beaming with excitement to report. There's indeed something fishy going on. Your Majesty, guess what happened? It turned out that Jasmine Chow had another love interest and was unwilling to enter the palace. The Chow family sent someone to investigate. A scholar Jasmine had encountered during a spring outing in the outskirts of the capital. The Chow family intended to capture him and force Jasmine to comply. But in the end, the man simply did not exist. The scholar's name and hometown were both fabricated, and he had vanished without a trace. Poor Jasmine, with all her devotion, had ultimately misplaced her sincere affections. At this point in the story, everyone couldn't help but sigh with pity. In the autumn of the second year of Yuanhe, the Empress Dowager's niece, Jasmine Chow, entered the palace and was appointed as Cultivated Consort Chow. Cultivated Consort Chow was vibrant and radiant, with a dimple when she smiled. Zhu came running to tell me, Cultivated Consort Chow loves to laugh, just like Mother did when she first entered the palace. I touched my own face. How long has it been since I laughed like that? Was it after Sister Qing passed away? Or after I learned the Emperor's affection for me was nothing but pretense? On the very day Jasmine Chow entered the palace, the Emperor made his way to the Palace of Eternal Fidelity. The next day was the first of the month, when all consorts and concubines paid their respects to the Empress Dowager. I had sent word to Consort Chow the night before, yet even after Consort Luo had been here for half an hour, there was still no sign of Consort Chow. Seeing that it was getting late, I rose and said, "Let's go. We'll wait at the Empress Dowager's palace." We paid our respects to the Empress Dowager. After finishing a cup of tea, the palace maid refilled it. Consort Chow arrived belatedly. Her face was flushed, wearing a bashful expression. When the Empress Dowager asked if the Emperor treated her well, Consort Chow's eyes lit up. "Aunt, the Emperor treats this concubine very well." When the Emperor rose, this concubine wished to serve him, but the Emperor told me to continue resting. The Emperor said that you, Aunt, and Her Majesty the Empress are benevolent and would surely not mind my tardiness. The Emperor even granted me a palanquin. By rank, a consort is not entitled to ride in a palanquin. The Empress Dowager curved her lips into a faint, Buddha-like smile, but the smile did not reach her eyes. "Xiang, your elder sister the Empress has always been magnanimous and will certainly not hold it against you." I was puzzled why Jasmine Chow, who had been unwilling to enter the palace, now seemed to have changed her mind, and, by her appearance, she was thoroughly pleased with the Emperor. Hearing the Empress Dowager mention me, I smiled warmly. How could I mind? It's my sister who has worked hard attending to the Emperor. Expanding the imperial lineage is what truly matters. I presented the gift I had prepared in advance to Cultivated Consort Chow. "Congratulations on gaining favor. Sister, this jade ruby is of fine quality. Please accept it for your enjoyment." Cultivated Consort Chow took the jade ruby, her smile broadening. "Thank you for your generous gift, sister." Noble Consort Luo held Xiao and taught her to say, "Greetings, Consort Chow." Dressed in red and adorned by Noble Consort Luo like a New Year painting doll, Xiao chirped in a milky voice. "Consort Chow is so beautiful. Her words amused everyone present. The Empress Dowager beckoned to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, do you like Consort Qiao? Would you like to go to the Palace of Eternal Fidelity and see the beautiful Consort Qiao every day? The great hall fell silent instantly. Xiao Xiao was barely a year old. How could she understand the Empress Dowager's intentions? She only looked blankly at Consort Luo. Consort Luo clenched the handkerchief in her hand. She dropped to her knees with a thud. Your Majesty, I cannot bear to be parted from Xiao Xiao. I beg you not to. The Empress Dowager's expression darkened. You are but a mere consort. How dare you question my decision? Jasmine Chow curled her lip. Auntie, what do you mean? You wouldn't actually want me to raise Princess Xiao Xiao, would you? Auntie, I'm only 16. I have no interest in babysitting. Humiliated by her own niece, displeasure flashed in the Empress Dowager's eyes. But the next moment, she forced a smile, her face full of feigned affection. Jasmine, you're overthinking it. How could I possibly ask you to raise Xiao Xiao? You're still a child yourself. I was merely speaking offhand. Silly girl, always jumping to conclusions. Consort Luo takes excellent care of Xiao Xiao. Jasmine Chow patted her chest in relief. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. That scared me to death. Consort Luo looked at Xiao Xiao with deep affection. Princess Xiao Xiao is very well behaved. The deep palace is lonely, but with Xiao Xiao, my days finally have hope. The Empress Dowager rewarded Consort Luo with another bracelet, praising her for her merit in caring for the princess. Consort Qiao was not having it, pulling at the Empress Dowager, demanding some reward for herself as well. Consort Luo and I took our leave at the right moment, giving the aunt and niece a chance to catch up. Back at the Empress's chambers, Jing asked me, is Consort Qiao just imagining things? How come I feel the Empress Dowager's intention was for Consort Qiao to raise Princess Xiao Xiao? I chuckled. The Empress Dowager indeed was. But unfortunately Consort Qiao didn't take the hint. True, Consort Qiao is at the peak of favor, young and fully capable of having her own children. Why would she want to raise someone else's? Jing looked somewhat worried. Your Highness, the Empress Dowager is such a shrewd person. How could she have such a naive niece? Is Consort Qiao hiding her cleverness? I shook my head. I don't think so. The Emperor, if he sets his mind to it, can make you believe you are his destined one. So it was with Sister Qin, and so it was with me. Now, it is Jasmine Chow's turn. I think I understand why the Emperor agreed to let her enter the palace. A few days later, Jing reported to me, Your Highness, our informant in the Empress Dowager's court overheard a secret conversation between her and Jasmine Chow. It turns out, the scholar Jasmine Chow had been pining for was none other than the Emperor during his incognito travels. On the day she entered the palace, the Emperor saw her and exclaimed it was fate. He even confessed he had feelings for Jasmine Chow, but held back, knowing she was betrothed to another. Little did he know, he was the one she was promised to. The lofty Emperor laughed heartily. Like an exuberant young man, he even mimicked a folk wedding custom, sharing a ceremonial cup of wine with her. He said, Though I cannot make you my official wife, in my heart, you are my true spouse. Jasmine Chow was merely 16 years old. How could she withstand the Emperor's relentless advances? Lady Chow expressed gratitude to the Empress Dowager for allowing her to marry the Emperor. Jing covered her mouth, laughing. It was said that after Lady Chow left, the usually composed Empress Dowager was so furious she shattered a teacup. I rested my hand on my belly. The Empress Dowager had brought Lady Chow into the palace to help her oppose the Emperor, never expecting that Lady Chow's mind was filled only with romance. Easily won over by His Majesty, the Empress Dowager's move had backfired completely. Suddenly, there was a movement in my belly. For the first time, I felt the baby kick. I was overjoyed. My child, you too are eager to feel your mother, aren't you? Jing peeked through the curtain. Your Highness, Consort Luo has brought Princess Xiao Xiao to pay respects. Shall we admit them? Consort Luo nearly lost Princess Xiao Xiao. It seems she can no longer sit idle. Please show them in. Xiao Xiao, with two little braids, gave a proper curtsy. Mother Empress, your child pays respects to you. I took Xiao Xiao's hand. Xiao Xiao is so well behaved. The small kitchen has made some pastries. Let Sister Zhu take you to have some. Zhu left with Xiao Xiao. Consort Luo looked envious. Back when your highness entered the palace, the emperor truly doted on you, granting you 2 imperial chefs at once. I smiled. When I first entered the palace, I had quite the appetite for fine food. Consort Luo's smile faded slightly. This concubine heard that Lady Chao was also granted an imperial chef by the emperor, one specially selected from the imperial kitchens, the best at preparing nourishing soups. Here it comes. I pretended not to catch the hidden meaning in Consort Luo's words. Lady Chao is the Empress Dowager's niece. The emperor has always been filial. It's only natural he shows her extra care. Consort Luo seemed to hesitate, holding back words. I acted as if I didn't notice. Embroidering a child's red belly band, Consort Luo wept silently, her sobs gradually becoming audible. I could no longer pretend not to notice. So I set down my embroidery hoop and asked, "What troubles you, Consort Luo?" Consort Luo dabbed the corners of her eyes with a handkerchief. That day, when cultivated Consort Chao paid respects to the Empress Dowager, your highness was present. This humble concubine noticed the Empress Dowager's tone. Does she intend to entrust Xiao Xiao Princess to her care? My expression darkened. The Empress Dowager clearly stated she had no such intention. Do not torment yourself with baseless fears. Consort Luo. Yet Consort Luo's tears fell like broken strings of pearls. She was strikingly beautiful, and her weeping carried a poignant elegance. I felt utterly helpless. Why weep so? Others might think I've wronged you. Consort Luo replied, Your Highness does not know the whole story. When the emperor was still in the Eastern Palace, he blamed me for sharing his bed after he had drunk too much to appease Empress Rinjin, then the crown princess. He had me forced to drink a potion that stripped me of fertility. I know many palace maids envy me. They think that despite our similarly humble origins, being favored by the crown prince was like ascending to heaven in one step. But that path to heaven is far from easy. The emperor's favor lasted only a few days. Later, he found me coarse and never summoned me again. Forgotten in a remote corner, I lived worse than a servant. Concubine Luo's voice was filled with sorrow. Your Highness, I can no longer have children of my own. I absolutely cannot lose Xiao Xiao too. Suddenly, it all made sense to me. No wonder the emperor and the crown prince, though they disliked concubine Luo, still entrusted Princess Xiao Xiao to her care. A low-ranking concubine with no children or favor. How could she harm the only pillar supporting her rise? Only with Princess Xiao Xiao does the emperor occasionally visit her palace. I intended to offer her a few words of comfort, but when I opened my mouth, all that came out were dry heaves. The empress's chambers instantly descended into chaos. Jing fetched the spittoon, while Zhu brought me water. Concubine Luo was pushed aside in the commotion. As I sat back down, Consort Luo's dark eyes grew profound. I truly envy you, Your Majesty, for being able to have your own child. After that, Consort Luo's nature changed. She no longer contented herself with caring for Xiao Xiao, detached from worldly affairs. Instead, she began frequenting my empress's chambers, whether with purpose or not. Consort Luo worked hard to ingratiate herself with me, though she hadn't cooked in a long time. To please me, she started making lotus flower crisps again. It had been a long time since I'd tasted lotus flower crisps as well. The ones she made still held the flavor of memory. The pastry, thin as cicada wings, shattered instantly between the teeth, scattering with a delicate crunch, a wonderfully delightful texture. Yet the youth who once shared them with me had now become my adversary. Consort Luo helped me craft a tiger head hat for the child. Your Majesty, I've heard the emperor has bestowed so many rewards upon Lady Chao that the Palace of Eternal Fidelity can scarcely contain them all. Also, the emperor wants Consort Chao to oversee the mid-autumn banquet. This is the first mid-autumn banquet since His Majesty ascended the throne. How can a newcomer who only entered the palace 3 months ago be put in charge? I looked at Consort Luo with amusement. Don't worry, Consort Luo. Consort Chao is the Empress Dowager's niece. With Her Majesty's guidance, she certainly won't make any mistakes. Consort Luo was indignant. To put it bluntly, Consort Chao hasn't even fully learned the palace rules yet. The emperor spoils her too much. Your Majesty, aren't you angry? I rested my hand on my belly. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm still pregnant. But Consort Luo didn't let it rest there. From time to time, she would come to tell me about Consort Chao's activities. Today, Consort Chao attended to the emperor again. Tomorrow, Consort Chao received another reward. Some of Consort Chao's daily provisions even rival mine as the empress. There are even rumors in the palace that the emperor intends to depose me and replace me with Consort Chao. Whenever she spoke of it, Consort Luo always wore an envious expression. I am still pregnant. I tried not to care, but my mood was inevitably affected. Both Jing and Zhu were worried about me. After all, Empress Renjin had a difficult labor due to poor mood during pregnancy. They couldn't help but worry about me. Jing, Your Highness, let's focus on delivering the young prince first. Other matters can wait. I knew I shouldn't let negative emotions take over any longer. So I chose a sunny day and visited the former Eastern Palace. I admired the lotus blossoms from the pavilion in the Eastern Palace. Jing and Zhu rode a small boat rowed by guards, picking fresh lotus seeds. On our way back, we passed by Lady Qing's former courtyard. Elder Prince Ethan Xiao emerged from within. It had been a long time since I last saw Ethan Xiao, dressed in a white casual robe, his features clear and bright. He now stood half a head taller than me. We suddenly crossed paths. For a moment, we just stared at each other in silence. Ethan quickly collected himself and sneered. I heard that Consort Chao has won favor, and the emperor has neglected you. Mother, should I say it's your comeuppance? That you deserve to suffer what my birth mother endured? I retorted sarcastically. Empress Renjun was virtuous and kind, and the emperor still cherishes her memory. For the crown prince to compare me to Empress Renjun is an honor. Ethan Xiao stormed off in anger. Back in the empress's chambers, Jing looked puzzled. What did the crown prince mean? I feel like there was more to his words. Zhu rolled her eyes. What else could it mean? Don't overthink it. The crown prince has held a grudge against her empress for a long time. I looked at Zhu, amused. I actually agree with Jing. Ethan Xiao is Sister Qing's child. Even if he dislikes me, he wouldn't curse me so maliciously. I pondered Ethan Xiao's words repeatedly. What did he mean? Jing, I entrust this to you. From today, guard the empress's chambers strictly. Do not allow anyone or anything that could harm me to enter. Jing bowed respectfully. Yes. Soon I had no time to ponder Ethan Xiao's meaning. On a day not designated for accompanying the empress, the emperor unexpectedly came to the empress's chambers. Seeing the emperor appear, I guessed that my father's matter must have been settled. As expected, a few days later, father returned to the capital with third brother to express gratitude. The emperor was greatly pleased and hosted a banquet for father and third brother. I was also summoned to join in entertaining father and third brother. At the banquet, the emperor was very attentive toward me. Lan Xiai, this is ginseng black chicken soup and grapes I specially ordered prepared. The imperial physician says they benefit the fetus's health. He personally served me a bowl of the black chicken soup. Not wanting father and third brother to worry, I had no choice but to play along with his act. The emperor ordered Zhao Si to announce the decree. Zhao Si, by the decree of heaven, the emperor proclaims, we, bearing the mandate of heaven, rule over all under heaven. The prosperity of the nation relies on the support of loyal ministers and valiant generals. Now, Marquis Guhongwu has repeatedly distinguished himself in battle, demonstrating loyalty to the sovereign and love for the country, and has rendered meritorious service in suppressing the remnants of the rebellious prince. He is hereby promoted to Duke of the State, with a fief of 10,000 households. As a mark of our favor, the 4 sons of the Gu family have shown bravery and prowess in battle, achieving numerous military merits. Particularly, the third son has displayed exceptional loyalty and courage, and is hereby enfeoffed as a count, with an annual stipend of 1,000 dan. The other 3 brothers, in law, have also contributed and are rewarded with mansions, fertile lands, gold, silver, jewels, and other treasures, in recognition of their merits. So it is decreed. Father led third brother in expressing gratitude. The banquet reached its midpoint. Father slowly stepped forward, knelt, and said, "Your Majesty, this old subject has a request." The emperor's hand holding the wine cup tightened abruptly. "What matter troubles you, father? In law, rise and speak. Today is a family banquet. There is no need for such formalities." Yet, father insisted on remaining kneeling. This old subject joined the military in youth and has fought countless battles throughout his life. Now, aged and weakened, I no longer possess the vigor of those years. I humbly beg your Majesty to grant me permission to lay down my arms and return to the fields. The emperor urged him to stay. Seeing that father refused, he asked me to persuade him. Instead, I persuaded the emperor. "Your Majesty, on the day I was enthroned as empress, I saw first brother's child, about the same age as Xiao Xiao. Father has campaigned for many years. It's time he spent more time with his family. If you have need, you can send third brother." The emperor reluctantly agreed and bestowed a grand mansion. "Once you recover from your injuries, father, in law, the court will still await your service." Everyone present knew that day would never come. Before third brother left, he gave me a scroll in the emperor's presence. Second brother painted it. He made 2 copies. One remains at home. Second brother excels at painting. I unrolled it and saw a family portrait. There were father and mother, my 4 brothers, first sister, in law, and her child, and me, holding the scroll. My emotions surged, and tears welled in my eyes in an instant. Third brother said, "First brother's child can already walk, and call me aunt." My tears finally broke free, streaming down uncontrollably. The emperor's hand rested on my shoulder, drawing me close to lean against him. "In that case, once Lancy gives birth and my in-laws return to the capital and settle in, I will accompany Lancy on a home visit." I looked at the emperor, and he gave me a reassuring smile. Because of this news, father and third brother left the palace with satisfaction. Because of this, Zhufan was beaming with joy. "Your Majesty, the emperor still holds you in his heart, whether during the late emperor's reign or the current emperor's. You are the only consort in the entire harem whom the emperor has accompanied on a home visit." My smile was somewhat forced. What is the meaning of this? Compensation after neglecting me, or putting on a show for my parents? I had already been utterly disappointed in the emperor, yet he gave me another sweet consolation. Jing came to report, "Your Majesty, I have thoroughly inspected the empress's chambers and found nothing unusual. However," I looked at her. "Jing, I saw Consort Luo secretly meeting with the emperor." Consort Luo? It was an open secret in the rear palace that she had long fallen out of favor. The emperor would occasionally visit her chambers for Xiao Zhao's sake, but he never stayed the night. What could she possibly want from seeking out the emperor? And she went in secret. No less. It suddenly occurred to me. Consort Luo had been visiting the empress's chambers quite frequently lately, and every time she came, she would inevitably bring up how the emperor doted on Consort Chao. Originally, Consort Chao's entry into the palace was the Empress Dowager's ploy to divert the emperor's favor. Her rise to favor and rewards were all within expectations, yet Consort Luo repeatedly accused her of overstepping her bounds. It put me in a sour mood as well. Zhufan peeked in. "Mother, Consort Luo is here." I smiled. "Just the person I wanted to see. Please show Consort Luo in." Consort Luo arrived bearing a tiger head cap she'd made for the child. I took the cap. I had to admit, her needlework was far superior to mine. It was clear she'd put real effort into it. Consort Luo sipped the tea poured by Jing. "I heard the emperor has promised to accompany your highness on your visit home. Congratulations, your highness." I exchanged pleasantries with her. "It is the emperor's kindness. May I ask who remains in Consort Luo's family? I could seek his majesty's favor to allow them to visit you in the palace." Consort Luo's expression darkened. "My hometown is far in Jiangnan. I have many siblings and was the least favored. Why would my parents travel all the way to the capital for me? Unlike Consort Chao, she entered the palace not long ago, yet the emperor already permitted her family to visit." I handed the tiger head hat to Jing. "Take it away and burn it, along with all the other items Consort Luo helped make before." Consort Luo thought she misheard. "Your highness, you Mean to burn them? I set the teacup down heavily on the table. Consort Luo, you keep mentioning Consort Chow's favor. What are you implying? Terrified, Consort Luo knelt on the floor. Your Highness is most discerning. This humble concubine speaks out of indignation for your Highness. I sneered coldly. Indignation? Or were you instructed by someone to deliberately sour my mood? I found it strange. Now that I am with child, all palace affairs have been handed over to Lady Chow. Instead of currying favor with Lady Chow or the Emperor, Lady Luo comes to flatter me. Only now do I realize Lady Luo has clearly found a more powerful patron and come here to torment me. Lady Luo's face turned deathly pale. Spare me, Your Highness. I had no choice. I only wished to keep Xiao Princess. She wept pitifully, yet I felt nothing but disgust. Jing, Lady Luo is of ill intent and unfit to raise Xiao Princess. Have the child brought to the Empress's chambers at once. I shall arrange for a suitable caretaker. Only then did Lady Luo panic. Your Highness, you cannot take Xiao Princess from me. You must not. I looked at her with amusement. I am the mistress of the 6 palaces. Even Xiao Princess must call me Mother Empress. Her fate is naturally mine to decide. Consort Luo tried to cling to my leg again. I stepped back 2 paces and glanced at Jing. She immediately summoned attendants to have Consort Luo thrown out. Even after being cast out, Consort Luo refused to give up. Xiao was brought to the Empress's chambers, and I entrusted her to Zhu, insisting she must lack for nothing in food or care. Jing was deeply concerned. Mother, if you bring Princess Xiao here, might the crown prince come to cause trouble? Your position is already precarious. You must not make more enemies. I shook my head. Don't worry, he won't. I recalled Kai, the one who spread the rumors. The Emperor said, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, I suspect that the crown princess's death truly had hidden circumstances. And then there's Ethan Zhao's attitude. He hates me, doesn't he? Even if he's a gentleman who wouldn't kick someone when they're down, he shouldn't have warned me. Perhaps Ethan Zhao's break with me was just an act for certain people to see. I had only just punished Consort Luo when Consort Chow came to provoke me again, to vie for favor. Consort Chow deliberately lured the Emperor to her palace of eternal fidelity on the 15th day of the month. I could only laugh in exasperation. On the 30th of each month, when Consort Luo received no favor, I claimed the 1st and 15th days, the remaining 28 days, even if the Emperor was too busy with court affairs to visit the inner palace. Still left her with half a month to serve him, and she still wasn't satisfied. I refused to indulge her and punished her with 1 month of confinement. Confinement meant her name plaque would be removed from the selection roster, since Consort Luo was at fault to begin with. The Emperor couldn't do anything about my decision. Consort Chow had no choice but to plead her case to the Empress Dowager. The Empress Dowager summoned me and asked me to show leniency toward Consort Chow. I knelt directly before her. Your Majesty, you were once Empress as well. Consort Chow broke palace rules first. If you won't allow me to punish her, then please instruct this concubine. How should this be handled? I am still pregnant. Even the Empress Dowager could not override me. Old Nanny Li, help our Empress up quickly. We wouldn't want others to think I'm tormenting a pregnant woman. Old Nanny Li tried to assist me, but I refused to rise. Your Majesty, do you concede that this concubine is in the right? Well, the Empress Dowager nearly failed to maintain her usual smile. That's the principle of it. However, Consort Chow is still young and has not been in the palace long. It's only natural she lacks understanding. I smiled sweetly. Consort Chow is only a month younger than I. I even entrusted her with managing palace affairs. If she herself is not upright, how can she command respect? The Empress Dowager could do nothing with me. She had no choice but to start with the Emperor. Yet the Emperor stood by my side. Mother, the rules of the inner court cannot be disrupted. The Empress Dowager loudly complained of a headache. I too grew weary of their entanglement. Empress Dowager, Your Majesty, I am somewhat tired and shall return to the Empress's chambers to rest. The Emperor clearly had no desire to tangle with the Empress Dowager either. Then I shall escort Lancy back to the Empress's chambers and summon the imperial physician for a check. Up. The Empress Dowager snorted coldly. Your Majesty, please stay. I have matters I wish to discuss with you in detail. In the end, it was unclear what the Empress Dowager conceded. The Emperor agreed to allow Consort Chao to attend the autumn hunt. The autumn hunt was just half a month away, effectively lifting Consort Chao's confinement early. Zhu Fen rushed in frantically. Mother, this servant went to collect this month's silver allowance for the Empress's chambers, and someone threw this paper ball at me on my return. Jing, did you see who threw it? Zhu Fen shook her head. No, the person hid behind a tree. When I looked, there was no one there. I took the note. Let's see what it says first. The note bore only 5 words. Beware of Dr. Zhang. Zhu Fen fumed, hands on her hips, and scolded angrily. Dr. Zhang shares a life and death bond with the Duke. How could he possibly harm you? Mother, this must be someone's malicious prank. I stared at the note for a long time. Jing, Mother, Dr. Zhang has arrived. Since I became pregnant, Dr. Zhang has come every 5 days to check my pulse for wellness. Usually, after examining me, Dr. Zhang would offer a few dietary reminders and then leave. This time, Dr. Zhang looked uneasy. Has Mother consumed anything unusual recently? I withdrew my hand and gazed coldly at Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang, are you trying to say that I show signs of miscarriage and need medicinal treatment? Dr. Zhang's mouth fell slightly agape. I scoffed. What, has this consort stolen your lines, leaving you speechless? Dr. Zhang still refused to admit it. This humble physician is terrified. Ever since Your Highness became pregnant, I have been diligent and cautious, never slacking for a moment. If you do not trust me, you are free to summon another imperial physician. I chuckled coldly. Don't think I don't know. You physicians all share the same tongue. Rest assured, I've already sent for the former head of the Imperial Medical Bureau. Only then did Dr. Zhang begin to panic. I pressed my advantage. I already know that the wellness check you performed was anything but well. First, you claimed I showed signs of miscarriage, then seized the chance to add abortifacients to the prescribed medicine. I raised my voice. So when the time came, you'd simply claim the pregnancy couldn't be saved. Is that it? Dr. Zhang, who sent you? Under immense pressure, Dr. Zhang confessed to the crime, yet he refused to reveal who had ordered him. He would rather die. Before being dragged away, he wept bitterly. I have failed brother Hongwu's trust. It was he who recommended me to enter the Imperial Physician's Bureau. Hongwu was father's name. I fell ill. It was an act. Yet some began to stir. On the eve of the autumn hunt, Consort Chao was released. She came to feign concern over my illness. Your Majesty, what does it matter if you confine me for a month? The Emperor still cares for me. He feared I might miss the autumn hunt and release me in haste. I chuckled lightly, unperturbed. Is that so? Consort Chao grew even more smug. Tomorrow, I shall accompany the Emperor to the autumn hunt. I am the only one from the rear palace granted this honor. I heard Your Majesty is ill, and one wonders if the child can even be preserved. How pitiful. I thought half a month in confinement might have sharpened her wits, but she remains as foolish as ever. I didn't waste words with her. Jing, slap her face. Jing gave her 10 slaps. The next day, Zhu took Princess Xiao Xiao to see the Emperor off. She came back and told us a joke. Mother, you should have seen it. Consort Chao covered her face with a veil, too ashamed to show herself. Isn't that like hanging out a sign saying no silver buried here? Now everyone knows she provoked you and got what she deserved. Even Jing, who rarely smiles, was amused. Who would have thought that Consort Chao, the Empress Dowager's own niece, could be so foolish? Only someone as kind-hearted as you, Mother, would let her off so lightly. Me, she'll be crying sooner or later. Those words came true within 10 days. Consort Chao returned to the palace in tears and smashed everything in her room. Zhu was initially gleeful about it, but Jing subtly tugged at her sleeve. I asked what was going on. Turns out the Emperor had brought back a woman who bore a striking resemblance to Empress Rinjin. The Emperor's longing for Empress Rinjin was an open secret in the palace. This woman's entry into the palace is bound to stir up many storms in the imperial city. The woman brought back by the emperor was named Rosalind Lee. Her father was merely a low-ranking 7th grade official in the patrol battalion. Originally, he had no qualification to attend the autumn hunt. Coincidentally, the patrol battalion where her father served was responsible for the security of the autumn hunt. Rosalind Lee secretly followed her father there. It was her fortune that she happened to be noticed by the emperor. Rosalind Lee received the emperor's favor on the very day she entered the palace. The supervisor from the Office of Imperial Affairs came to the empress's chambers. "Your Majesty, it is not that this servant wishes to disturb you. I sought out Lady Chow, but she did not wish to handle the matter." What is it?" The supervisor bowed obsequiously. "It concerns Miss Rosalind Lee, whom the emperor brought back. Her nameplate had not yet been hung, yet she received his favor last night. This servant wishes to ask how it should be recorded in the Office of Imperial Affairs archives. Also, should Miss Rosalind Lee's nameplate be hung or not? I didn't even look up. Have you asked the emperor?" Steward, "The emperor has been in council with several ministers and cannot be disturbed." Then you may return for now. I estimate that within half a day, the emperor will send word." Steward, "Thank you for your guidance. Your Highness." Within half a day, the emperor's chief eunuch, Zhao Si, arrived at the empress's chambers. The emperor sent him to inform me, "Rosalind Lee has been conferred the title of Beauty. Beauty is a 5th rank position, though lower than noble consort Luo's rank, given Rosalind Lee's family background. Even granting her a 6th rank Baolin title would have been a favor. Conferring the Beauty title shows the emperor is truly pleased with her." Jing slipped a money pouch to Zhao Si. "Eunuch Zhao, the Empress Dowager has always valued protocol. How could she agree to grant a 5th rank position to the daughter of a mere 7th rank official?" Zhao Si tooted. "The emperor is determined." The Empress Dowager's opposition was futile. Jing came to report that Dr. Zhang had hanged himself in prison. My heart sank. Dr. Zhang would rather lose his own life than reveal the person behind him. This implies that the person behind him holds a higher status than I do. In the palace, only 2 individuals fit this description. Dr. Zhang probably never imagined that his death would instead expose the mastermind behind him. Rosalind Lee was quickly promoted 2 more ranks, becoming a noble consort. The emperor also proposed that Rosalind Lee raise Princess Xiao Xiao. Unlike Jasmine Chow, Rosalind Lee lacks her family background but knows how to assess the situation. When the emperor asked her to care for Princess Xiao Xiao, she appeared very enthusiastic. Despite the late hour, she personally brought people to fetch Xiao Xiao. Consort Luo immediately panicked. Originally, I had my own child, and while Princess Xiao Xiao was in the Empress's chambers, she had always hoped I would return the princess to her. Now that Princess Xiao Xiao has gone to Rosalind Lee's care, she feels there is no hope left. She comes from a maid background and had no status or title even back in the Eastern Palace. Life only became bearable after she had little Princess Xiao Xiao. Without Xiao Xiao, she was nothing in the palace. I did not wish to see Consort Luo, yet she knelt outside my hall for a long time. For 3 days straight, she came each day and left only after dark. On the 4th day, Zhu Fen told me, "Your Highness, Consort Luo says she has confidential matters to discuss and must speak with you in person." I touched my belly, let her in. As soon as Consort Luo entered, she dropped to her knees with a thud. "Your Highness, please help me. I cannot live without little Princess Xiao Xiao." I did not look at her. "If there is nothing else." "No, no, no." Consort Luo shook her head in terror. "Your Highness, what I meant to say is that it wasn't me who climbed into the bed. It was the emperor who took a fancy to me after he had been drinking. I entered the prince's residence at the age of 6, back when the emperor was not yet crown prince. I signed a 10-year contract, waiting only for it to expire so I could return to my hometown and marry. That incident occurred just 7 days before the decade. Long deadline," I said coldly. "Concubine Luo's plight is pitiable, but what does that have to do with me? In the depths of the palace, compassion is the least needed virtue." Seeing me pick up my tea, Jing said, "Concubine Luo, please leave. This servant will escort you out." Concubine Luo grew anxious. There is one more matter. One I can only tell you alone, mother. I nodded, and Jing departed. Previously, the emperor had refused to take new concubines. But now, seeing him willingly accept Rosalind Li, the court officials grew restless one by one. First, the ministers petitioned to establish a crown prince. The emperor flew into a royal rage. I am still young and can father many royal heirs. Or perhaps, you are all part of the eldest prince's faction, plotting to force my abdication. He pinned this grave accusation on them, leaving the courtiers trembling with fear. The eldest prince was still young and held little power. Given the emperor's clear displeasure toward him, no one wished to be branded as his supporter now. Leaving aside the matter of appointing a crown prince, the court ministers then turned to urging the emperor to hold a selection of consorts. Yet the emperor did not let the eldest prince off the hook. It was said the emperor acted on a sudden impulse and visited the imperial study. There, he encountered the eldest prince giving an incorrect answer to the grand tutor's question. The emperor flew into a rage, scolding him for lacking ambition, and ordered the eldest prince to be beaten with the rod. Jing, mother, does the emperor feel that the eldest prince is growing restless, hence inciting the court ministers to appoint him as crown prince, aiming to supplant him? Zhu, it is indeed peculiar. If the emperor truly misses Empress Rinjin, then why, being children of the same empress, does he lavish Xiao Xiao princess with utmost affection? All that is delicious and useful, Xiao Xiao princess receives a share. Rumor has it the dowry the emperor has prepared for her already fills 9 storehouses. The princess is barely over a year old. By the time she weds, her dowry could rival the wealth of a nation. I sneered coldly. What else could it be? Xiao Xiao is a daughter, however favored. She merely costs more in riches. The eldest prince is different. Unexpectedly, after the eldest prince recovered from his injuries, he announced before the court ministers in the imperial court his intention to leave the capital for experience. Eldest prince, your majesty's reprimand is justified. Though I have lived in the palace with every comfort and protection, I have been deprived of true experience with the people's livelihoods and the hardships of the world. I wish to travel the mountains and rivers, to temper myself in the streets and alleys, and to broaden my horizons. The emperor shed tears on the spot. Ethan, you have never left my side, and I cannot bear to part with you. Do you resent me for scolding you in the study, for embarrassing you in front of others? I too, the depth of my love is matched by the severity of my reproach. When I urge you to study and improve, is it to harm you? It is out of love. Your mother passed early, and you are at odds with the empress. I fear for your future. It is said that in the court, father and son embraced and wept bitterly. The ministers were moved to tears, one after another. In the end, the emperor finally granted the eldest prince's request, though he stipulated only a year's time. Upon his return, he would be entrusted with heavy responsibilities. On the day eldest Prince Ethan Xiao left the palace, Xiao Xiao went to see him off. Through Xiao Xiao, I sent Ethan Xiao a protective talisman as a token of gratitude for his warning. Once the eldest prince left, no one brought up the matter of appointing a crown prince again. The court officials were shrewd. They could see the emperor had no intention of naming an heir, and the eldest prince himself showed no interest. Afterward, the emperor symbolically took 2 more consorts into the palace. One was from the prime minister's family, the other from an aristocratic clan. They were respectively granted the titles of Beauty Chun and Beauty Wong. Both of these beauties shared one trait. They bore some resemblance to Empress Rinjin. It seemed the emperor's devotion to Empress Rinjin, and by extension his favor toward Rosalind Li, had become common knowledge both in the inner court and among the officials. Beauty Chun was aloof and detached, neither competing nor striving, embodying a demeanor reminiscent of Empress Rinjin's noble character. Beauty Wong, however, went to great lengths to vie for the emperor's favor. Regardless, the one who remained most favored in the palace was still Rosalind Li. Since Rosalind Li was raising Xiao Xiao, the emperor found yet another excuse to promote her, elevating her 2 ranks at once. Rosalind Li was granted the title of Cultivated Grace, putting her on equal footing with cultivated consort Chao. Regarding palace affairs, The emperor has also decreed that Rosalind Li and consort Chao should manage them together. Not only that, the emperor went to great lengths to select a general Li from among the high-ranking officials with military power, appointing him as Rosalind Li's adoptive father. Coincidentally, this general Li chosen by the emperor has long been at odds with my father. The two have been quarreling for decades, from the time of the late emperor until now. Only after my father achieved great merits at the border and I became empress did we temporarily gain the upper hand over General Li. Because of General Li, Rosalind Li, who originally stayed out of my affairs, also became hostile toward me. Even while I was pregnant, she dared to reduce my charcoal ration in the winter. I sent Jing to seek out the emperor. Rosalind Li tearfully defended herself. Your Majesty, this concubine only wished to ease your Majesty's burdens. With the severe drought in the south, your Majesty has been practicing austerity. Witnessing this, I too have reduced expenses in my own palace. But my position is humble and my influence limited. That is why I sought to join Her Majesty the Empress in setting an example for the entire harem. The emperor was all too pleased to watch Rosalind Li and I locked in rivalry. But I wasn't the most anxious one. The emperor favored Rosalind Li. Jasmine Chao, once beloved, gradually fell out of favor. For Rosalind Li's birthday, the emperor ordered a grand celebration. Zhu sneered. When the emperor and consort Li withheld from mother, they preached frugality. Now, for Rosalind Li's birthday, expenses are no concern. Mother is the empress. Her birthday wasn't celebrated grandly. How dare a mere third-rank consort receive such honors? Zhu only grumbled within the empress's chambers. Yet Jasmine Chao's resentment could no longer be contained. For Rosalind Li's birthday, she gifted a folding screen. A screen itself was harmless, but it was embroidered with night, blooming Sirius. Jasmine Chao, fearing Rosalind Li might miss the hint, toasted her at the banquet. May consort Li shine as brilliantly as the Sirius, even if just for a moment. Its beauty eclipses all. Rosalind Li seethed with anger, but the emperor was still present. She could only complain with grievance. Your Majesty, look at consort Chao. On my birthday, what words did consort Chao utter? A beauty shedding tears, especially Rosalind Li, whom the emperor held dear to his heart. This enraged the emperor. I intended to celebrate consort Li's birthday grandly. Consort Chao, do you have an issue with me? Jasmine Chao blinked her eyes. This concubine dares not. I am uneducated and merely thought that since consort Li favors white attire, resembling an epiphyllum, a flower all praised for its beauty, my wish for her to be like one was well intentioned. I rose and said, Your Majesty, consort Chao is young and inexperienced. Today is consort Li's joyous occasion. Please do not be angry with consort Chao. The emperor's fury had not yet subsided. In that case, I shall bestow upon consort Li an additional gift. By decree, consort Li, virtuous and graceful, has deeply pleased me. She is hereby promoted to noble consort. At this, not only consort Chao, but also the majority of those present changed their expressions. In just a few months, Rosalind Li not only rose to consort rank, but was specifically granted the title of virtuous consort, placing her at the head of the 4 highest-ranking consorts. Had Rosalind Li come from an illustrious family or rendered great service, this might have been understandable. Yet everyone knew her maternal family held only a minor 7th-rank post, with no one in her clan fit for important roles. Even if the emperor wished to elevate them, he couldn't. Even her adoptive father, General Li, held a position neither particularly low nor exceptionally high. Many in the capital outranked him. Moreover, the emperor stripped consort Chao of her authority over palace affairs and ordered the Ministry of Rites to select an auspicious date for Rosalind Li's grand investiture ceremony, complete with a golden seal. The emperor's actions were a slap in the face to consort Chao, but they also trampled the Empress Dowager's dignity underfoot. I gazed at the emperor in bewilderment. Sensing this was deliberate, consort Chao stared at Rosalind Li with pure envy, as if her glare could bore holes through her. The cup in the Empress Dowager's hand suddenly crashed to the floor. The sound exploded like thunder in the silent hall. startling the attending maids and eunuchs into kneeling, not daring to even breathe loudly. "My apologies." This old one's hand slipped. "Emperor, you grow more absurd by the day. What is this imperial palace? How could you casually bring in some unknown girl from a minor family and immediately grant her consort status?" The Empress Dowager fell ill from anger. Half a month passed without improvement. The Empress Dowager declared she was dying, and her final wish was to see her own son one last time. The emperor visited frequently, displaying utmost filial piety. He knew the Empress Dowager disliked Rosalindly, so he never allowed her to appear at the Palace of Benevolence. Yet his stance remained firm regarding the Empress Dowager's request to see the rebellious prince. The rebellious prince's crimes are unforgivable. Allowing him to live is mercy enough. I will not permit his release. The Empress Dowager quieted down, but her illness showed no signs of abating. The imperial physician said the Empress Dowager's condition was critical, and the palace's medicinal herbs could hardly produce significant effects. The emperor immediately issued an edict, publicly seeking renowned physicians and rare medicinal ingredients from across the land. Yet, not long after, the Empress Dowager was placed under house arrest by the emperor. It was said that Consort Chao reported that the Empress Dowager had harmed the emperor's birth mother, Empress Dowager Dei, and had even drugged the emperor shortly after his ascension to the throne. That was why the emperor struggled to produce heirs. Consort Chao even presented both witnesses and material evidence. The Empress Dowager wept bitterly in the heavy rain. "The thing I regret most is letting you, Jasmine Chao, enter the palace. I am your own aunt. How could you betray me for a man? If not for me, could you have entered the palace?" To this, Jasmine Chao also had something to say. "Aunt, don't forget, I never wanted to enter the palace. It was you who threatened me with the life of the scholar. Fate allowed me to reunite with the scholar in the palace. Though he stood so high above, he treated me so well, picking out fish bones for me and teaching me how to handle palace affairs. The emperor said, he loves me, and if it weren't for my aunt standing between us, he would treat me even better." Consort Chao laughed with a hint of madness. "Aunt, I haven't wronged you. Those things were truly done by you. Empress Dowager, how can you face the ancestors of the Chao family? When you die, how will you meet them? Consort Chao, how can I care about what happens after death? I only care about now. Now, because of you, the emperor refuses to acknowledge me." The Empress Dowager looked at the emperor, her eyes filled with venomous hatred. "You did this on purpose. No wonder my son couldn't defeat you. He wasn't as skilled at manipulating hearts as you are. Emperor, you flatter me. Empress Dowager, I truly don't understand. I've treated you well, granting you the honor of Empress Dowager, and the empress and consorts have shown you respect and filial piety. You harmed my mother, which could be explained by your thirst for power. But what else displeased you so much that you targeted my heirs?" The Empress Dowager uttered only 4 words. "A mother mourns her dead son." The emperor's face immediately changed drastically. "I thought you didn't know." The Empress Dowager stared at the emperor, her tone sharp and intimidating. "Does your majesty truly believe I don't know you murder my son? Under the guise of benevolence, you've kept an impostor in seclusion. That is not my son. My true son perished by your hand long ago." The Empress Dowager laughed bitterly. "I care not for prestige or status. My only desire is to drag you down to hell to accompany my son in death." The Empress Dowager's illness worsened. The once lofty Empress Dowager visibly withered away. Within a month of falling ill, the Empress Dowager passed away. 3 days after her death, the entire Chao family knelt outside the palace gates with her blood-written letter and sounded the grievance drum, demanding justice for the Empress Dowager, claiming the emperor had driven her to her death. The emperor immediately shifted blame to Consort Chao. The evidence Consort Chao produced to accuse the Empress Dowager turned out to be fabricated. Before the Empress Dowager's spirit, the emperor wept in remorse, claiming Consort Chao had blinded him to the truth. Consort Chao was placed under house arrest. Consort Chao still dreamed of regaining favor. She had even helped the emperor eliminate her own aunt. Surely, he would favor her more now. Yet, the emperor did not visit her palace of eternal fidelity. Consort Chao consoled herself, thinking the Empress Dowager had just died and the Emperor must observe mourning. But instead of the Emperor, she received Zhao Si announcing an imperial decree. Consort Chao, heartless and ungrateful, framed the Empress Dowager. Her crime merits death, but in recognition of the Chao family's service to the state, she is granted a whole corpse and bestowed white silk. These 10 brief words were the Emperor's repayment to Consort Chao. Ludicrously, even in death, Consort Chao showed no remorse, clamoring and demanding a final audience with the Emperor. At that time, the Emperor was busy building a snowman for Rosalind Lee, arguing with her over whether to use a carrot or a painted branch for the snowman's nose. He had no time to spare for Consort Chao. The Emperor replied with just 2 words, "No time." Even Zhu felt Consort Chao deserved better. Though Consort Chao had once flaunted her status before mother, seeing her end made one pity her. Jing snorted coldly. The pitiful have their own hateful aspects. Look at how she treats the Empress Dowager, her own aunt. I sighed. Consort Chao is the only one, besides Empress Rinjin, who genuinely loved the Emperor. Since His Majesty refuses to see her, I shall go check on her. Jing was worried about me. I smiled faintly. It's fine. I just feel she shouldn't depart with deception. When I arrived, Consort Chao looked utterly disappointed. Why is it you? Where is the Emperor? Is His Majesty still occupied with court affairs? It's all right. I can wait for him. I didn't hide the truth. The Emperor is accompanying Consort Xian and has no time to come. Consort Chao refused to believe it. How could he not come to see me one last time? When we first met, he clearly said he liked me, though it was a pity I was already betrothed. On my first night entering the palace, I was overjoyed to see the Emperor was my scholar. He was even happier than I, insisting our bond was destined by heaven. She lost herself in those beautiful memories, and only after a long while seemed to remember I was still there. She looked at me warily. Empress, what brings you here? Have you come to mock me? To see how wretched I've become? Are you satisfied now? Let me tell you, even if the Emperor dislikes me, he will never favor you either. His heart belongs solely to Empress Rinjin. There will be countless Rosalind Lees in this palace hereafter. Do not delude yourself into seeking his love. What a foolish woman. I laughed heartily. Jasmine Chao, you are truly pitiable. Even at death's door, you cling to hope that the Emperor will change his heart. Do you truly believe he ever loved you? No, your very first meeting was a calculated scheme. I tossed her a confidential report. It detailed her itinerary during the time she supposedly encountered the scholar by chance. On a certain year, month, and day, Jasmine Chao visited the ancient Buddha temple to pray. On a certain year, month, and day, Jasmine Chao planned to go for a spring outing. Looking down at Jasmine Chao from my superior position, Jasmine Chao, what you believed to be a chance encounter was merely the Emperor's carefully orchestrated design. Confronted with the evidence, Jasmine Chao still refused to believe it. Impossible. The outing was a spontaneous idea of mine. How could the Emperor have known I would go? I sneered. Think carefully. Was it truly your own sudden whim to go? Jasmine Chao recalled, gradually growing panicked. It wasn't. During those days, people kept telling me the peach blossoms in the outskirts had bloomed. The scenery was beautiful, perfect for an outing. Even on the day I went out, it was my maid who said it was a rare clear day, ideal for a spring outing to the outskirts. So that's how it was. Ha ha, ha ha. I turned and left, heard the eunuch's voice behind me. Noble Consort Chao has passed away. Jasmine Chao's death didn't even stir a ripple in the Emperor's heart. This harem has never lacked beauties. With the Empress Dowager no longer overseeing things, the Emperor elevated Rosalind Lee even more. Rosalind Lee's adoptive father, General Lee, captured a few petty thieves in the capital. The Emperor praised him repeatedly in court, lauding his hard work and merit, and promoted him to the first rank. My father spent his entire life on the battlefield, bearing countless fatal wounds. Yet before relinquishing his military authority, he only reached the first rank. After father handed over his military power, my 4 elder brothers spent years at the frontier, facing swords and spears, sleeping on the battlefield. Yet the troops under their command were less than half of General Lee's. third brother beheaded the enemy general, securing 3 years of peace in the southwest, and was revered as a war god by all of Tianchu's people. Yet, he only reached the second rank. Later, after suffering a single defeat, the emperor sent a supervisor to reprimand him and demoted him. After General Li was promoted to the first rank, the emperor didn't even bother to show me superficial courtesy anymore. At the spring banquet, before the feast began, the emperor asked Rosalind Li, "Have the rewards for Empress Rinzhen's family been distributed?" Rosalind Li, this concubine did not dare forget. "They have already been sent, and as per your majesty's wish, they were 20% more generous than those for the empress's family." When the banquet began, Rosalind Li had Empress Rinzhen's family seated in the positions originally reserved for the empress's family. I merely remarked, "Consort Xian indeed lacks noble lineage," showing not a shred of propriety. Rosalind Li showed no fear and arrogantly replied to the empress, "This has nothing to do with your humble concubine. It was all arranged by the emperor. I am the cultivated consort appointed by his majesty. Does your majesty disapprove of the emperor's decision?" As she spoke, she revealed the pearl prayer beads on her wrist. I sneered. "Pearl prayer beads are reserved for the empress. How dare someone like you wear them?" But the emperor defended her. "I bestowed them upon her. Surely the empress does not mean to reprimand even me?" Seeing the emperor take her side, Rosalind Li grew even more insolent. The noble women present also fawned over her, praising how the pearl beads enhanced her elegance. I was so enraged that my stomach began to ache. It was my child, eager to meet me. The emperor panicked. "The young prince is coming. Someone, summon the imperial physician." My father rushed forward, covered me with his cloak, lifted me up, and carried me back to the empress's chambers. The winter banquet had to be cancelled due to my sudden labor. My parents begged the emperor for permission to stay in the palace until my child was born. With my parents guarding outside the door, I felt much more at ease. The abdominal pain was unbearable. Beads of sweat the size of peas rolled down continuously, soaking my hair at the temples. In the makeshift delivery room, midwives crowded around the bed, each looking tense. Excruciating pain came in wave after wave. My body felt as if it no longer belonged to me, as if it had been split open by an axe. After a day and a night, through a near-death struggle, I desperately gave birth to the child. It was a boy. The emperor graciously came to the empress's chambers. "Lanchi, you've worked hard." Seeing that I had given birth, my parents finally felt relieved, though filled with immense reluctance. They had to leave due to palace rules. It was the emperor who spoke up. He granted special permission for mother to stay in the palace to accompany me during my postpartum confinement. My parents were profoundly grateful. Originally, father had pressured the emperor to punish Rosalind Li for her disrespect toward me, but now that the emperor had shown such grace, father could no longer bring it up. My body suffered too much damage during childbirth. Mother said she would return home to fetch a secret remedy to help nourish me. Upon entering the palace, she brought back a tall maidservant. It was Ethan Xiao. It turned out Ethan Xiao had not gone traveling. Instead, he had gone to the borderlands. He changed his name and started as a common soldier, rising to the 5th rank through real combat and merit. With my 4 elder brothers stationed at the border, third brother had seen Ethan Xiao and recognized him. Third brother, fearing responsibility, initially intended to report it to the emperor via memorial. Ethan Xiao showed the protective talisman I had given him, and only then did third brother relent. Ethan Xiao hadn't planned to return to the palace this early. He rushed back upon hearing about my difficult labor. "Ethan Xiao, Lana Gu, didn't I warn you? Why did you have difficult labor? Investigate the midwife and the imperial physician." Seeing Ethan Xiao's expression, my suspicions were confirmed. Ethan Xiao, Sister Qing's incident wasn't an accident. Someone deliberately caused it, wasn't it? Ethan Xiao didn't expect me to be so perceptive. "Do you know something?" "I do know a little. It was mentioned by Consort Luo." Ethan Xiao told me a story. A nobleman fell in love with a woman from a humble family. The woman was utterly devoted to him, but the man only used her as a shield, deceiving his brothers to show he had no desire for power. He even orchestrated her difficult labor and death for the sake of his ambitions. What's despicable is that after her death, the man still pretended to be deeply in love. He even went on to marry a woman who resembled her. I remained silent for a long time. So, you broke with me because you discovered the emperor isn't as devoted as he appears. Ethan Xiao said, yes, after mother passed, father told me it was the Gu family who forced her to her death, and he vowed to avenge her. Ethan Xiao's voice was filled with sorrow. But the truth? It was him, all him. He first targeted my uncle, though not particularly accomplished. My uncle was always good to his family, yet he sent people to lure him into gambling dens. In the end, to make mother suffer even more, he had my uncle abducted and tortured. The story about my uncle running away from home was all a lie. Poor mother still trusted him and asked for his help to find my uncle. I recalled the winter banquet. The emperor asked if the ceremonial gifts for Empress Rinjin had been sent, specifically instructing that they be 20% more than those sent to the Duke of Gu's residence. He also had Rosalind rearrange seats of honor for Empress Rinjin's maternal relatives. Those unaware of the truth thought the emperor was deeply devoted to Empress Rinjin, still caring for her family even after her passing. Ethan Zhao's eyes turned red. Even more monstrous was when mother was giving birth to Xiao Xiao. There was no difficult labor initially, but he bribed the midwife to claim the baby was coming out feet first and forcibly pushed Xiao Xiao back in. I couldn't help but curse. Monster. No wonder Sister Qing said before her death that human hearts are fickle. She had already realized the emperor wasn't as devoted to her as he appeared. Mother quickly sent Jing to check the doorway. Fearing eavesdroppers, I handed Ethan Xiao a handkerchief. You passed the note, didn't you? I recognized your left-handed writing. He turned away to wipe his tears. His voice grew choked. Yes, I couldn't find the right moment, so I resorted to this. I never thought you'd still fall into his trap. It's my fault. I should have explained everything to you sooner. Ethan Zhao's eyes were filled with worry and self-reproach. I rose from the bed instead of staying lying down. Ethan Xiao, look, I didn't have difficult labor. It was an act. The emperor set the stage. How could I not play my part in his drama? The midwife had indeed been pressured by him to cause trouble during the delivery, but he's arrogant and looks down on women deep down. Or perhaps he thought his high status would make the midwife too afraid to disobey, which gave me the opening I needed. Ethan Xiao only left the palace after confirming I was truly fine. I remained bedridden until the end of my confinement period. For some reason, the emperor treated me slightly better, at least on the surface. He visited occasionally, urging me to rest and recover, assuring me that Rosalind Li was handling palace affairs. I looked up at him, uncertain whether he meant to comfort or provoke me. He knew full well that Rosalind Li and I were at odds. I smiled sweetly. Consort Li manages palace duties excellently, easing much of my burden as empress. Yet balancing these responsibilities with caring for Xiao Xiao must be exhausting. Since Consort Luo has ample free time, perhaps she should resume raising Xiao Xiao. The emperor studied me intently. Hesse Madame Muset. I truly don't know what to do with you and Consort Li. Since you suggest it, let it be as you wish. You are, after all, the mistress of the inner court. At last, I could care for Xiao Xiao again. Consort Luo was overjoyed, kowtowing to me as if possessed. Jing stood gracefully at the side. Consort Luo, Her Majesty risked offending the emperor to get Xiao Xiao back for you. You must pledge your loyalty to our mistress from now on, and never again harbor any intent to harm her. Consort Luo replied with a mix of laughter and tears. If Her Majesty ever has need of me in the future, I will serve her with my very life. Under the pretense of visiting the child, the emperor began coming to the empress's chambers every few days again, but I could sense that things were different from before. He would never eat any of the food served in my palace. He claimed that incense gave him rashes. So, whenever he came to the empress's chambers, he insisted all windows be open wide and no incense be lit. In my presence, he still brought up Empress Rinjin from time to time. Emperor, my dear passed away due to complications from Xiao Zhao's difficult labor. Lanqi, you must take good care of yourself. The look in his eyes was so earnest, yet it did nothing to diminish his determination to harm me. Not long after, third brother went missing while pursuing the enemy. The words, likely dead or injured, in the frontier report stabbed at my eyes. It was said third brother had already won the battle but chased the enemy's great general deep into their camp and vanished. Among my brothers, third brother was the most outstanding. He earned his title of Earl through his own merits and was also the closest to me. Father rushed to the frontier overnight upon hearing the news. I urged Mother to leave the palace immediately, but Mother shook her head. Mother is worried about your third brother too, but men's battles are beyond my control. It's best I take care of you so they won't worry. The Emperor was quite surprised to see Mother had not left. Emperor, Mother, in law, rest assured, I have already dispatched reinforcements to find your third son. He took my hand and said, Lunsi, you must ease your mind and not overthink. Qingqing once worried about her brother too, and after he was found, she instead, your third brother will surely be fine. I looked at the Emperor with a faint smile. The Emperor thinks so too. I also believe third brother will be fine. The Emperor frowned slightly, seeming somewhat puzzled. He probably doesn't understand why Mother hasn't hurriedly left the palace, nor does he understand why I'm not worried about third brother. Weeping day and night, the second prince's full moon ceremony was grand, but Zhao, the Emperor's attendant, kept glancing outside frequently. I smiled and said, Eunuch Zhao, are you waiting for someone? Zhao bowed to me, replying, Your Highness, this servant is just checking if the food servers have arrived. As he stood up, I noticed the sachet at his waist. Its embroidered lotus flowers faded. In the midst of the banquet's excitement, urgent news arrived. Father failed to find third brother and has gone missing himself. In my panic, I fainted. The imperial physician took my pulse again and again. Your Highness is overwhelmed with worry. Your life may not last long. The imperial physician prescribed many medicines, but they were so bitter I didn't even want to drink them. When the Emperor came over, Zhu complained to him, Your Majesty, please discipline Mother. She refuses to take her medicine again. The Emperor was unexpectedly accommodating. Zhu, reheat the medicine. I will personally watch your mother drink it. Zhu agreed and left. I sulked angrily. Your Majesty, is Zhu your palace maid or mine? Why does she only listen to you? The Emperor found it amusing. Lanqi, take your medicine properly. The imperial physician will surely cure you. I had Consort Luo make your favorite lotus flower crisp. You can have it after drinking the medicine. I protested. No, this lotus flower crisp doesn't taste like Consort Luo made it at all. Your Majesty must be deceiving this concubine, having someone else make it hastily. It might taste awful. The Emperor picked up a piece, tasted it, and said, How is it awful? The flavor is quite good. I took the medicine, brought the spoon to my lips, then set it down, smiling meaningfully. Does your Majesty wish for this concubine to drink the medicine? The Emperor paused. Naturally, you'll recover faster after taking it. Holding the medicine bowl, I said, Your Majesty remains as adept at feigning ignorance and as ruthlessly cunning as ever. After all your meticulous scheming, weren't you precisely waiting for this day? Now, everyone knows this concubine was weakened by childbirth. They know my heart is broken over my father and third brother's affairs, that my life nears its end. If I die now, no one would ever suspect the medicine. Even my family would only grieve. I smiled radiantly. Your Majesty, isn't that so? My demeanor puzzled the Emperor, his expression darkening. Lanqi, what nonsense are you speaking? How could I harm you? You've just borne me a precious son. I intend to name him Crown Prince. When he ascends the throne, you shall become Empress Dowager. My smile grew even more brilliant. Is that so? Can this concubine truly await that day? And what of your Majesty? Do you feel short of breath? Poisonous woman, you dare harm me? Zhao, quickly take me to Consort Rosalind's quarters. The Emperor fears death greatly. Upon reaching Rosalind Li's palace, he immediately summoned the imperial physician. Hearing of the Emperor's ailment, concubine Luo also arrived, bringing along Princess Xiao Xiao. Most of the Imperial Medical Institute came. They carefully took the Emperor's pulse and concluded, His Majesty is overly fatigued and requires more rest. I presented the Emperor with century, old ginseng. Your Majesty, use this century, old ginseng to nourish your health. Pray do not exhaust yourself again, and then accuse this concubine of being poisonous. What, does your majesty believe this concubine poisoned you? This concubine also wishes to know, why does your majesty treat me with such fluctuating warmth and coldness? The emperor's face was stern, his gaze toward me filled with venomous hatred. It's all your fault, Lana Gu. You drove Empress Rinjin to her death. She treated you like a sister, sewing intricate pleated skirts for you even during her pregnancy discomfort. She never wronged you in any way. Why did you force her to die? I sneered. Sister Qing never wronged me, so it wasn't me who harmed her. Emperor, even if it wasn't you, it was your father. Your father forced her. I called outward. You may enter. Ethan Shao entered. Father, it's been a long time. The emperor's eyes widened. Ethan Shao, weren't you in Jiangnan? How did you return to the capital so suddenly? I received no news. Ethan Zhao's lips curved. Father, is it possible that it was my double who went to Jiangnan from the very beginning? The emperor watched him warily. Then, why have you returned? Ethan Shao, TSK. Father, I heard you've been missing mother, and feared you might long for your child as well. Emperor, enough. You may leave now. Ethan Shao shook his head. Father, don't be impatient. Today, I came to discuss mother's death with you. You probably didn't know, Father, but before she died, mother had already discovered something was wrong with the midwife. After mother passed, I investigated the midwife, but only found her corpse. It wasn't until once, when you were drunk missing mother, that I heard you call her by her maiden name and vow to make the Gu family, who harmed her, die horribly. To be honest, Father, at first, I suspected the Gu family too, but after my covert investigation, I found they never demanded mother's death, nor took any action against her. Later, one of mother's palace maids revealed something. After mother became pregnant with Xiao Xiao, you once spoke to her with a troubled expression, saying the Gu family was willing to help you, but wanted the empress's position and for Lancy to have a child. Ethan Zhao's expression turned cold. You wanted mother to voluntarily step down as empress, didn't you? Unfortunately, she didn't catch your hidden meaning. She thought you were genuinely in trouble and comforted you, vowing to share both hardship and joy with you. Ethan Shao sneered mockingly. Mother Empress was the legitimate consort you personally begged Grand Emperor for, risking your own position. She was utterly devoted to you, never doubting your sincerity. She never even realized you wanted her to voluntarily relinquish her position as the primary wife. I looked at the emperor in disbelief. So you thought Sister Qing was inconsiderate, coveting the empress's position, and that's why you decided to kill her. The emperor turned his face away. I didn't want to either. It was all the Gu family forcing me. My father never told you to kill Sister Qing. I argued vehemently. Not only did your majesty cause Sister Qing's death, but you also intended to harm this concubine in the same way. Spreading rumors was also ordered by you, wasn't it? You even promised Kai that if she helped you, you would favor her and let her become a mistress like Consort Luo. TSK. The emperor was enraged. Zhao Si, deliver the decree. Empress Lana Gu has defied the imperial will and is to be confined to the cold palace. Yet no one answered him. He tried to stand up, but he could no longer rise. Consort Xian, help me up at once. Rosalind Li did not move. I smiled with delight. Your Majesty, you have indeed been poisoned, not by me, but by Consort Luo and Consort Xian Li working together. Consort Luo has made lotus flower crisps her entire life, starting from the Eastern Palace. No one would ever suspect her. And Consort Xian Li, I heard she favors the incense, Old Affairs Unforgotten, which contains sandalwood. She even personally made you a sachet, adding this very incense. You even willingly ate Consort Luo's lotus flower crisp to persuade me to take my herbal medicine, combined with the toxic sandalwood. You had no idea, did you? The emperor was shocked and enraged. Didn't the imperial physicians say I was merely exhausted? I smiled mockingly. Rest assured, after your passing, the imperial physicians' records will state you died from overexertion. Does your majesty not wonder why the imperial physicians have betrayed you? It all began with Dr. Zhang. You forced him to harm me, and after he was exposed, he took his own life. Yet you wouldn't spare his family. I took the opportunity to save several of his relatives and had them contact other imperial physicians. Being an imperial physician is already a perilous profession. They risk their necks with every step. You not only drove Dr. Zhang to his death, but also sought to exterminate his entire clan. Tell me, which physician would dare remain loyal to you after that? Concubine Luo stepped forward. Your Majesty, you probably never imagined the depth of my hatred for you. I was originally a palace maid, bound by a 10-year contract before entering the manor. Outside the palace, my beloved Nyo was waiting for me. We had a 10-year promise, but you, driven by lust, ruined me. How laughable that you still pretended to be devoted, shifting all blame onto me, accusing me of social climbing, and forcing me to drink that infertility potion. I hate you for destroying me and then discarding me. Later, to please Consort Li, you even took Xiao Xiao Princess from me. She was my only solace in this deep palace. Should I not hate you? The emperor then turned his gaze to Rosalind Li. And what about you, my virtuous consort? I have always believed I treated you well. Why did you help the empress plot against me? At first, I did see you as a replacement for Empress Rinjin, but later, I genuinely grew to care for you. I had even drafted an imperial edict long ago to depose Lana Gu as empress and install you, Rosalind Li, in her place. I was only waiting for the right moment to issue it. He took out an imperial edict and threw it at Rosalind Li's feet. Rosalind Li ignored the edict and calmly stepped forward. Your Majesty, have you never wondered why I bear such a striking resemblance to Empress Rinjin? Because she was my own sister. I was sold away for many years, remembering only my sister, longing to reunite with her, only to find I would never get the chance. You are the one who killed her. Rosalind Li stepped on the edict appointing her as empress. Your Majesty, do you truly believe I covet being your empress? From the moment I entered the palace, my only goal has been to take your life. The emperor smiled bitterly. I never thought the day would come when my sincere affections would be so misplaced. I told him, aside from Sister Qing, perhaps only Jasmine Chow truly loved you, yet both of them died by your hand. You wouldn't even see Jasmine Chow one last time before her death. By the way, the method of poisoning you was devised with Jasmine Chow's assistance. You're arrogant, looking down on women deep in your bones. From the Empress Dowager, Sister Qing, Jasmine Chow, to Consort Luo, yet you're destined to die at a woman's hands. The Emperor smiled eerily. Where is Commander Luo? The one who answered and entered was an unfamiliar face I'd never seen before. Your servant is here. The Emperor pointed his index finger at me. The Empress has assassinated the Emperor. Execute her on the spot. Even at this moment, the Emperor's first thought wasn't to save himself, but to kill me. It's not hard to see. He truly loved Rosalind Li, even harmed by her. He couldn't bear to have her killed. I instinctively stepped back, but Commander Luo's blade was too swift. I thought I was going to die, yet a powerful force pulled me away. It was Ethan Xiao who pulled me to safety. Behind me stood Consort Luo, holding Xiao Xiao in her arms. As the blade rushed toward Xiao Xiao, Ethan Xiao wanted to intervene, but it was clearly too late. At the critical moment, Consort Luo turned around, shielding Xiao Xiao with her body. She intended to use her own back to block the blade for Xiao Xiao. Consort Luo's life hung by a thread. I closed my eyes. Someone stepped in to take the blow for Consort Luo. Blood stained his faded lotus. Scented sachet. It was Zhao Si. At the same time, Ethan Zhao's sword slit Commander Luo's throat. Consort Luo set Xiao Xiao down and threw herself over Zhao Si. Nyo, how are you? Imperial physician. Fetch the imperial physician. Quickly. But Zhao Si had been stabbed in the chest. The imperial physician would never make it in time. Lotus, live well. After uttering these words, Zhao Si breathed his last. Only then did we realize that Zhao Si was Consort Luo's childhood sweetheart. No wonder Ethan Xiao wouldn't let me raise Princess Xiao Xiao back then. He was the one who mentioned there was an unfavored bed, chamber servant in the Eastern Palace, because he knew the Emperor valued Princess Xiao Xiao, and Consort Luo's life would improve if she raised the princess. He was doing everything he could to help the woman he loved. The Emperor saw the tide had turned against him. Rage overwhelmed his heart. Before dying, he requested to be buried alongside Empress Rinjin. Ethan Shao wiped the blood from his face. "You're dreaming," I sneered. "You don't deserve it." Rosalind Lee added, "The Empress wouldn't have wanted it." In early the third year of Yuanhe, Emperor Zhao passed away, and his second son succeeded the throne. I became Empress Dowager, holding the child while governing from behind the curtain. Ethan Shao was in theft as Regent Prince, assisting with internal affairs. General Li and my father handled external matters. General Li and my father were actually childhood friends. They only feigned enmity to avoid the emperor's suspicion after both gained military power. Rosalind Lee had entered the palace at my behest in the first place. Thanks to General Li, Rosalind Lee managed to infiltrate the hunting grounds, allowing my plan to proceed smoothly. How laughable that the late emperor wanted General Li to rival my father. He miscalculated badly. The late emperor planted a spy by third brother's side. Fortunately, I sent a warning letter in advance. Both father and third brother are safe. They merely went into hiding temporarily, making the late emperor believe his trap had succeeded. Consort Luo faked her death, assumed a new identity, and married the deceased Zhao servant, vowing to care for his elderly mother. Rosalind Lee chose to stay. Her maternal family only wanted to bleed her dry. She'd rather live worry-free as a dowager consort, continuing to raise the little princess. As the new emperor grew older, the regent prince's gaze toward me, the Empress Dowager, grew increasingly profound and inscrutable. It was the look of a man beholding a woman. The elder ministers pleaded before me, the Empress Dowager, begging me to persuade the regent prince to take a wife. The moment I broached the subject, Ethan Shao flew into a rage. He produced a well-worn peace charm. "There is a lady in my heart. Might the Empress Dowager permit me to wed her? My unfilial son commits treasonous acts, and my head aches fiercely from it.